Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science channel. Tonight, we'll be exploring downward into the hidden and beautiful world beneath our feet. A realm filled with mystery, with wonder, and endless connections. Beneath us lie the usual sights we might notice on a forest walk. Mushrooms sprouting from logs, toadstools circling ancient trees, and the occasional fairy ring in a meadow. But there is so much more than meets the eye. Some of the mushrooms we see are just the fruiting bodies of vast networks stretching underground. A simple mushroom cap may be connected to organisms weighing tons, spreading for miles beneath the soil. And the brief appearance of a mushroom may be something that happens only once in years. The world of fungi is both ordinary and spectacular, something we encounter every day yet never ceases to amaze. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, I invite you to like and subscribe or share a simple thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the calm of the fungal kingdom to carry you. Let's begin. The hidden kingdom beneath our feet. Mushrooms are not plants, but belong to their own ancient kingdom. For centuries, people assumed mushrooms were simply unusual plants. They grow from soil, after all, and remain rooted in place. But the truth is far more interesting. Fungi form their own kingdom of life, as distinct from plants as animals are. They cannot photosynthesize like plants do. Instead, they absorb nutrients from their surroundings, secreting enzymes that break down organic matter externally before drawing it inward. This fundamental difference places them in a category entirely their own. The fungal kingdom is ancient, stretching back over 1 billion years. Long before the first flowers bloomed or the first trees reached skyward, fungi were already thriving in primordial soils and waters. They are among Earth's most successful organisms, having survived every mass extinction event. When you see a mushroom pushing through leaf litter, you are witnessing a representative of one of life's most enduring kingdoms. The part we call a mushroom is just the fruiting body of something far larger. When we spot a mushroom growing on a forest floor or emerging from a rotting log, we are seeing only a tiny fraction of the organism. The mushroom itself, the cap and stem we recognize, is merely the reproductive structure. It exists to release spores into the world, allowing the fungus to spread to new locations. The true body of the fungus lies hidden beneath the surface. A vast network of thread-like structures, called mycelium, spreads through soil, wood, or whatever substrate the fungus inhabits. These networks can extend for incredible distances, sometimes covering acres of forest floor. A single organism can weigh hundreds or even thousands of pounds, though most of its mass remains invisible to casual observers. The mushroom we see is like an apple on a tree, a brief, visible manifestation of something much more vast and enduring below. Mycelium forms vast underground networks that connect forest ecosystems. Beneath every footstep you take in a forest, there exists an intricate web of life. Mycelium, the thread-like fungal network, weaves through soil particles, wrapping around roots and extending in all directions. These networks are not random tangles but organized systems that transport nutrients, water, and chemical signals across considerable distances. In many forests, the mycelial networks are so extensive that they connect hundreds or thousands of trees and plants. Scientists have discovered that these networks function almost like an underground internet, allowing plants to communicate and share resources. A mature tree with access to abundant sunlight might transfer excess sugars through the fungal network to younger trees struggling in the shade. When a plant is attacked by insects, it can send chemical warning signals through the mycelium to neighboring plants, allowing them to prepare their defenses. These networks have been called the the wood wide web, a living infrastructure that makes the forest not a collection of individual organisms, but a cooperative community. The fungi benefit too, receiving sugars from plant roots in exchange for providing water and minerals. It is a partnership that has shaped terrestrial ecosystems for hundreds of millions of years. Some fungal organisms are among the largest living things on Earth. In the Blue Mountains of Oregon, beneath the forest floor, lives an organism that challenges our understanding of what it means to be an individual. A single honey fungus, Armillaria ostoyae, has been found to cover over 2,000 acres. Its mycelial network spreads through the soil, connecting to tree roots throughout a vast area. Scientists estimate this single organism weighs hundreds of tons and maybe thousands of years old. This discovery transformed how we think about size in the natural world. We often imagine the largest organisms as blue whales or giant sequoias, massive beings we can see and measure directly. But the largest known organism is largely invisible, a slow-growing network that has persisted through centuries, quietly expanding beneath our feet. To walk through those Oregon forests is to walk atop a single living being older than human civilizations. Other enormous fungal organisms have been discovered in Michigan and elsewhere, suggesting that these giants may be more common than we initially thought. They remind us that size and presence do not always correlate. The most massive organisms on Earth operate in silence and darkness, beyond our immediate perception. Fungi have existed for over 1 billion years. The fungal kingdom is ancient beyond imagination. Molecular evidence suggests fungi diverged from other organisms over 1 billion years ago, making them older than plants and predating the colonization of land by complex life. Early fungi likely lived in aquatic environments, but they were among the first organisms to venture onto land. When they did, they formed partnerships with early plants, helping them extract nutrients from barren rock and primitive soils. Without these fungal partnerships, plants might never have successfully colonized terrestrial environments. The first forests that emerged hundreds of millions of years ago grew with fungal partners integrated into their root systems. Every step in the evolution of terrestrial ecosystems has been shaped by the presence of fungi. To study fungi is to study the deep history of life on land. They were here before dinosaurs, before flowers, before grass. They have witnessed the rise and fall of countless species, adapting and persisting through dramatic climate changes and mass extinctions. The mushroom you might see today is part of a lineage stretching back through unimaginable spans of time. They helped plants colonize land hundreds of millions of years ago. Around 450 million years ago, Earth's landmasses were largely barren. Early plants were beginning to emerge from aquatic environments, but the transition was difficult. The rocky, nutrient-poor surfaces offered little sustenance. It was fungi that made the crucial difference. Fossil evidence shows that the earliest land plants had fungal partners associated with their primitive root structures. These fungi helped extract phosphorus and other essential nutrients from rock and soil, providing them to their plant partners in exchange for sugars the plants produced through photosynthesis. This mutualistic relationship, which continues today in most plant species, was fundamental to the greening of the continents. Without fungi, our world might still be a planet of barren stone and shallow seas. The forests, meadows, and jungles we know today all trace their origins back to these ancient partnerships. Every tree in a forest, nearly every plant in a garden, relies on fungal relationships to thrive. The mushrooms we see are modern expressions of a partnership older than bones, older than teeth, older than eyes. The mysterious ways mushrooms grow. Mushrooms can appear overnight after rain. One of the most enchanting aspects of mushrooms is their sudden appearance. You might walk through a familiar patch of woods, seeing nothing unusual, then return after a rain to find dozens of mushrooms that seem to have materialized from nowhere. This rapid emergence is not magic, but the result of careful preparation. The mycelium has been growing beneath the surface for days, weeks, or even years, accumulating nutrients and waiting for the right conditions. When rain provides moisture and cooler temperatures arrive, the fungus responds by sending up fruiting bodies with remarkable speed. The mushroom forms as tightly packed cells that rapidly absorb water and expand, sometimes growing several inches in a single night. This swift appearance has made mushrooms subjects of wonder and folklore throughout human history. They seem to belong to the realm of the sudden and mysterious, appearing as if by enchantment and disappearing just as quickly. Yet their appearance is simply the visible culmination of slow, patient growth happening in the darkness below. They can push through asphalt and crack concrete. Despite their delicate appearance, mushrooms possess surprising strength. There are documented cases of mushrooms pushing through asphalt pavement, cracking concrete, and even lifting heavy paving stones. This seemingly impossible feat is achieved through a combination of focused growth and hydraulic pressure. As the mushroom cells absorb water, they generate tremendous pressure in a concentrated area. The growing mushroom doesn't try to break through the entire surface at once, but focuses its force on a small point. This concentrated pressure can be substantial enough to fracture hard materials. Additionally, some fungi secrete enzymes that can slowly break down even resistant materials, weakening them before the fruiting body pushes through. These remarkable demonstrations of strength remind us that fungi, though often overlooked, are powerful organisms. They persist in the most unlikely places, finding ways to reproduce even in urban environments where natural soil has been paved over. Their determination speaks to the resilience of life itself. Some mushrooms glow in the dark with bioluminescence. In certain forests around the world, if you venture out on a dark night, you might witness an otherworldly sight: mushrooms glowing with a soft, ghostly light. This phenomenon, called bioluminescence, occurs in several species of fungi. The light is typically a pale green or blue, creating an eerie radiance on forest floors and decaying logs. The glow is produced through a chemical reaction involving an enzyme called luciferase and a light-emitting molecule. Scientists are still debating why these fungi produce light. One theory suggests the glow attracts insects, which then help disperse the fungal spores. Another possibility is that the light is simply a byproduct of metabolic processes. Whatever the reason, bioluminescent fungi have inspired myths and stories in cultures around the world. They have been called fairy fire, foxfire, and ghost fungus. To stumble upon them in a dark forest is to encounter something that seems to blur the line between the living world and the realm of fantasy. Their gentle luminescence reminds us that nature contains wonders that seem almost magical. Fairy rings are created by fungi growing outward in circles. In meadows and forests, you may occasionally see mushrooms arranged in near-perfect circles. These formations, called fairy rings, have inspired folklore across many cultures. Some traditions held that they marked the dancing places of fairies or supernatural beings. Others warned that stepping inside a fairy ring might trap you in another realm. The true explanation is both simpler and, in its own way, just as fascinating. A fairy ring begins when a fungal spore germinates in one spot. The mycelium grows outward in all directions, at roughly the same rate, forming a circular expanding front. As nutrients in the center become depleted, the fungus continues to grow at the edges, creating an ever-widening ring. The mushrooms appear at the outer edge of this expanding circle, sometimes forming rings dozens of feet across. Some fairy rings are believed to be centuries old, growing outward year after year. They are visible evidence of the hidden mycelial network beneath, transforming invisible growth into patterns we can observe and wonder at. They release billions of spores into the air. A single mushroom may seem small and insignificant, but it is an extraordinarily productive organism. A mature mushroom can release billions of microscopic spores, sending them into the air, in hopes that some will land in suitable locations and germinate. Some large puffball mushrooms can produce trillions of spores over their lifetime. These spores are remarkable structures, often equipped with features that help them disperse. Some have wing-like appendages that help them catch air currents. Others have spikes or appendages that allow them to attach to passing animals. The mushroom's shape itself is often optimized for spore dispersal, with gills or pores positioned to release spores into air currents. Most spores never successfully germinate. They may land in inhospitable locations, be eaten by other organisms, or simply fail to find the right conditions. But by producing such astronomical numbers, fungi ensure that at least some succeed. Every breath you take likely contains fungal spores, invisible passengers drifting through the air in quantities that dwarf the number of stars you could see in the night sky. Each spore is a tiny package of genetic information. Individual, fungal spores are so small they are invisible to the naked eye, yet each one contains everything needed to potentially grow an entirely new organism. These microscopic packages are marvels of biological engineering, equipped with protective coatings that help them survive harsh conditions. Some spores can remain viable for years, waiting patiently for conditions favorable for germination. They can withstand freezing temperatures, desiccation, and even some forms of radiation. When a spore finally lands in a suitable location with adequate moisture, nutrients, and temperature, it germinates, sending out fine threads of mycelium that begin the cycle anew. The diversity of spore designs is remarkable. Some are smooth spheres, others are ornamented with complex patterns of ridges, spines, or mesh-like networks. These features help scientists identify fungal species and also serve various functions in dispersal and survival. To examine fungal spores under a microscope is to discover an invisible world of exquisite forms, each representing the potential for new life. Mushroom spores can travel thousands of miles on wind currents. Once released from the mushroom, spores become part of Earth's atmosphere, carried by winds that can transport them vast distances. Fungal spores have been found in air samples taken from high-altitude balloons and aircraft, proving they can reach the upper atmosphere, where strong winds carry them across continents and oceans. This long-distance dispersal helps explain why some fungal species have worldwide distributions. A mushroom releasing spores in an Asian forest might contribute spores that eventually germinate in Europe or the Americas. The atmosphere serves as a highway system for fungal reproduction, connecting distant ecosystems. Some scientists have even proposed that fungal spores might be capable of surviving in space, potentially allowing fungi to move between worlds on meteorites. While this idea remains speculative, it demonstrates how remarkably resilient these tiny packages of life can be. The spores drifting invisibly around you represent not just local reproduction, but a global network of genetic exchange. The beautiful diversity of mushroom forms. There are thousands of mushroom species with wildly different shapes. The fungal kingdom displays a bewildering diversity of forms. While we might picture a typical mushroom as having a cap and stem, this classic shape represents only one of many possibilities. Some mushrooms look like delicate corals branching in intricate patterns. Others form shelf-like structures that protrude from tree trunks in overlapping tiers. Some resemble tiny cups or goblets, perfect receptacles waiting to catch dew. Others spread as gelatinous blobs that seem more like something from another world than a living organism. There are mushrooms that look like birds' nests, complete with tiny, egg-like structures. Species that form starfish shapes that split open to reveal their spores, and varieties that grow as networks of tubes and pores beneath the forest floor. Each shape represents an evolutionary solution to the challenges of reproduction and survival. The diversity of fungal forms rivals that of flowers or shells, offering endless variety to those who take the time to look closely. A single walk through a diverse forest might reveal dozens of completely different fungal architectures, each beautiful in its own way. Some resemble delicate corals in branching patterns. Among the most striking mushroom forms are those that grow as clusters of upward-reaching branches, resembling corals one might find in tropical seas. These coral fungi, as they are commonly known, form intricate structures that can be white, yellow, pink, or purple. Their branches divide and subdivide, creating complex three-dimensional forms. These mushrooms are particularly abundant in older forests with rich soil. Their branching structure provides extensive surface area for spore production, allowing them to release spores from all surfaces of their branches. To encounter a cluster of coral fungi is to find something that seems almost architectural, as if nature were practicing geometry in miniature. Their delicate appearance belies a practical design. The branches are firm enough to maintain their shape, but flexible enough to resist breaking. They emerge from the forest floor like miniature trees, adding yet another layer of structure to the ecosystem. In autumn forests, finding a pristine cluster of coral fungus feels like discovering a hidden treasure. Others grow as shelf-like brackets on tree trunks. Walk through almost any forest, and you will likely see shelf-like structures protruding from tree trunks, looking almost like natural staircases built into the bark. These bracket fungi, or shelf fungi, grow directly from wood, emerging as horizontal platforms that can range from a few inches to several feet across. Many bracket fungi are perennial, adding a new layer of growth each year. If you examine them closely, you can often see growth rings on their undersides, similar to tree rings, marking successive years of expansion. Some individual bracket fungi can persist for decades, becoming permanent features of the trees they inhabit. These fungi play crucial roles in forest ecology. Many are decomposers, slowly breaking down dead wood and returning nutrients to the soil. Their presence on a tree doesn't always mean the tree is dying. Some species form beneficial relationships with living trees. The sight of sunlight filtering through a forest and illuminating the horizontal planes of bracket fungi creates one of the forest's most peaceful and geometric scenes. Puffballs release clouds of spores when disturbed. Among the most interactive mushrooms are puffballs, which have captivated curious humans for generations. When mature, these round or pear-shaped fungi develop a papery outer skin that contains countless spores. A slightest touch, a drop of rain, or even a passing animal brushing against them causes them to release a visible cloud of spores that puffs into the air like smoke. This mechanism is brilliantly designed for dispersal. The spore cloud rises on air currents, carrying the microscopic spores far from their origin. Children have long delighted in gently pressing mature puffballs to watch the spore cloud emerge, unknowingly helping the fungus fulfill its reproductive purpose. Some puffballs can grow quite large, with giant puffballs reaching the size of soccer balls or even larger. The quantity of spores in a single large puffball is almost incomprehensible, numbering in the trillions. Their simple but effective dispersal mechanism has served them well across millions of years of evolution. Birds' nest fungi look like tiny nests holding eggs. Among nature's most charming creations are the bird's nest fungi, miniature structures that look remarkably like tiny cups or nests containing several small, egg-like objects. These eggs, called peridioles, are actually packages of spores waiting to be dispersed. The dispersal mechanism of bird's nest fungi is particularly clever. Raindrops falling into the cup-shaped structure strike the peridioles with enough force to launch them into the air. Some species produce peridioles with sticky threads that allow them to attach to vegetation or passing animals, hitching a ride to new locations where they can release their spores. These tiny fungi, often less than a centimeter across, are easily overlooked. But when you discover them, nestled among leaf litter or on a piece of rotting wood, they offer a moment of delight. They seem almost designed to charm anyone who takes the time to notice them. Nature's miniature works of art. Earth stars split open like alien flowers. Another of the fungal kingdom's more dramatic presentations is the Earth star, which begins life as a round, onion-like structure buried in soil or leaf litter. As it matures, the outer layer splits into several pointed rays that curl backward, lifting the spore-bearing inner sphere off the ground and giving the entire structure the appearance of a star or perhaps a tiny alien spacecraft. This transformation serves a practical purpose. By lifting the spore sac above the ground, the fungus increases the chances that its spores will be caught by air currents. The rays also respond to humidity, opening wider in moist conditions and closing when it's dry, protecting the spores until conditions are favorable for dispersal. Earth stars are particularly abundant in certain pine forests and sandy soils. Coming across a cluster of them in various stages of opening creates the impression of watching a slow-motion bloom, a mushroom that unfolds like a flower. Their architectural precision and geometric beauty make them favorites among mushroom enthusiasts. Some mushrooms have gills beneath their caps, like pages of a book. The underside of many mushroom caps reveals a beautiful structure of gills, thin vertical plates arranged radially from the stem to the cap's edge. These gills serve as the spore-producing surface, their arrangement maximizing the area available for spore development, while allowing the spores to fall freely into the air below. The pattern of gills varies among species. Some are closely spaced, creating a dense pattern that might contain hundreds of individual gills in a single mushroom. Others are widely spaced with visible gaps between them. The gills might be attached to the stem in various ways, free from it, or run down it like ribs. These details help mycologists identify different species. To look closely at the gills of a mushroom is to see natural engineering at its finest. The regular spacing, the curves, and the way they distribute weight while maintaining their structure demonstrates that mushrooms, though they may seem simple, are sophisticated organisms, shaped by millions of years of evolution. Others have pores instead of gills on their undersides. While many mushrooms produce spores from gills, another large group uses a different strategy. These mushrooms have undersides, covered with tiny pores, openings in a sponge-like layer that contains vertical tubes. Spores develop within these tubes and drop out through the pores when mature. This design offers certain advantages. The pore surface is less delicate than gills and less likely to be damaged by rain or insects. Many of the tough, long-lasting bracket fungi use this strategy, maintaining their spore-producing structures across multiple seasons. The pores can be so fine they're barely visible, or large enough to see individually with the naked eye. Running a finger across the pore surface of certain mushrooms can be an oddly satisfying experience, the texture simultaneously soft and resilient. These structures represent an alternative evolutionary path to solving the same problem: how to create maximum surface area for spore production in a compact package. Morels have a distinctive honeycomb appearance. Among the most prized edible mushrooms are morels, instantly recognizable by their unique structure. Rather than having a typical cap and stem, morels consist of an elongated, spongy head covered with a pattern of ridges and pits that create a honeycomb or brain-like appearance. This convoluted surface provides extensive area for spore production. Morels emerge in spring, often shortly after the last frost. They have specific habitat preferences, and many foragers keep their productive morel spots secret, returning to them year after year. The anticipation of morel season and the hunt for these distinctive mushrooms is a springtime tradition in many regions. The honeycomb structure of morels is not just visually striking, but represents a clever design. The hollow interior reduces weight, while the ridged exterior maximizes spore-producing surface. They are ancient fungi, with fossil evidence, suggesting similar forms existed millions of years ago. Their distinctive appearance has remained effective across vast spans of time. Chanterelles have a subtle trumpet shape and ridges instead of true gills. Chanterelles are another group of highly valued mushrooms, recognized by their distinctive funnel or trumpet shape and their golden to orange coloration. Unlike many mushrooms, chanterelles don't have true gills. Instead, they have blunt, vein-like ridges that run down the stem, giving them a unique appearance. These mushrooms form mycorrhizal relationships with trees, particularly oaks, pines, and other forest species. They cannot be cultivated commercially because of their dependence on these tree partnerships, making wild chanterelles the only option for those who seek them. Their availability varies with location and season, adding to their special status. The golden color of chanterelles seems to capture sunlight filtered through forest canopy, making them glow against the dark forest floor. Spotting a cluster of chanterelles creates a moment of excitement for foragers, a flash of gold that promises both visual beauty and culinary delight. Stinkhorns produce foul odors to attract flies. Among the most unusual fungal strategies is that employed by stinkhorn mushrooms, which have evolved to attract flies and other insects rather than relying on wind for spore dispersal. These mushrooms produce a foul-smelling, sticky spore mass that to human noses resembles rotting meat, but to flies signals a food source. Stinkhorns often have phallic shapes, emerging from egg-like structures buried in soil or mulch. They can grow with startling speed, sometimes reaching full height in a matter of hours. The spore-covered cap produces its odor as soon as it's exposed, quickly attracting insects that feed on the sticky spores, and then inadvertently carry them to new locations. While their smell can be off-putting to humans who encounter them in gardens or woods, stinkhorns represent a fascinating evolutionary pathway. They have essentially mimicked carrion to exploit insects' ecological roles, turning decomposers into spore dispersers. Their appearance and smell make them memorable encounters in the mushroom world. The hidden connections in nature. Most plants depend on fungal partners for survival. One of the most important relationships in nature is one that occurs entirely out of sight. Approximately 90% of plant species form partnerships with fungi, associations called mycorrhizae. These relationships are ancient, fundamental, and essential to plant health. In mycorrhizal associations, fungal mycelium connects with plant roots, extending far beyond where the roots themselves can reach. The fungi gather water and nutrients, particularly phosphorus and nitrogen, from soil and deliver them to the plant. In exchange, the plant shares sugars produced through photosynthesis, feeding the fungus. This partnership allows plants to thrive in poor soils where they might otherwise struggle. The fungal network effectively expands the plant's root system by a factor of hundreds or thousands, accessing resources the plant could never reach alone. When you see a healthy forest or garden, you are seeing the results of these invisible partnerships, cooperation on a vast scale. These partnerships are called mycorrhizae. The word mycorrhiza comes from Greek roots meaning fungus root, describing the intimate association between fungal mycelium and plant roots. There are several types of mycorrhizal relationships, each representing a different way fungi and plants can cooperate. Ectomycorrhizal fungi form sheaths around the outside of roots and extend between root cells, creating an interface for exchange. These relationships are common in forest trees, particularly oaks, pines, and birches. Endomycorrhizal fungi, also called arbuscular mycorrhizae, actually penetrate root cells, forming branching structures inside them, where exchange occurs. These are more common in herbaceous plants and many crop species. The specificity of these relationships varies. Some fungi partner with many plant species, while others are specialists, forming associations with only one or a few plant types. Understanding these relationships has revolutionized ecology and agriculture, showing that healthy soils are not just mineral matter, but living communities where fungi play starring roles. Trees use fungal networks to share nutrients with their offspring. Research has revealed something remarkable happening beneath forests. Parent trees use fungal networks to support their offspring. When a large mother tree produces seeds that germinate nearby, it can recognize its own seedlings through the connected mycorrhizal network. Through this network, the mature tree can transfer excess sugars and nutrients to its young offspring, helping them survive in the shade of the canopy where photosynthesis is difficult. This support can be crucial for seedling survival. The mother tree is, in effect, feeding its children through an underground lifeline. This discovery has changed how we understand forests. They are not collections of individual trees competing for resources, but family networks, where generations are literally connected. The fungal partners enable this communication and transfer, serving as intermediaries that bind forest communities together. The forest floor, seemingly still and quiet, pulses with hidden exchanges of resources and information. Through these networks, plants can send warning signals to neighbors. The fungal networks connecting plants serve purposes beyond nutrient exchange. Scientists have discovered that when a plant is attacked by insects or infected by disease, it can send chemical signals through the mycorrhizal network to nearby plants. These warnings allow neighboring plants to prepare their defenses before the threat reaches them. Plants receiving these signals may increase production of defensive chemicals, making their tissues less palatable to insects or more resistant to pathogens. They might also release volatile compounds that attract predators of the attacking insects, calling in reinforcements. This communication transforms a forest from a collection of isolated organisms into an interconnected community that can respond collectively to threats. The role of fungi in facilitating this communication is crucial. Without the mycorrhizal networks, plants would have limited ability to warn their neighbors. The fungi don't necessarily benefit directly from passing these signals, but the healthier their plant partners remain, the more sugars they receive. It is cooperation, serving cooperation, networks within networks. Some orchids are entirely dependent on specific fungi to germinate. Orchids produce some of the smallest seeds in the plant kingdom, so tiny that they lack the nutritional reserves most seeds contain. For an orchid seed to germinate and grow, it must immediately find and form a relationship with the right fungal partner. The fungus provides the developing orchid with nutrients until it can photosynthesize for itself. Some orchids never develop the ability to photosynthesize. These species, called mycoheterotrophic orchids, remain dependent on their fungal partners for their entire lives, essentially parasitizing the fungus. They often grow in deep shade on forest floors, appearing as ghostly white or pale plants since they have no need for chlorophyll. This absolute dependence makes orchid conservation challenging. You cannot simply transplant an orchid to a new location unless the right fungal partners are present there. The relationship reminds us that species do not exist in isolation, but are embedded in webs of dependencies that must be preserved together. Truffles grow underground and attract animals to spread their spores, While many mushrooms release spores into the air, truffles have evolved a completely different strategy. These fungi produce their fruiting bodies entirely underground, where they develop intensely aromatic compounds. These aromas, often described as earthy, musky, or pungent, are designed to attract animals. Wild pigs, deer, squirrels, and other animals dig up truffles attracted by their smell. As the animals eat the truffles, they consume millions of spores that pass through their digestive systems intact. When the animals defecate elsewhere, they deposit the spores in new locations, ideally near the roots of appropriate host trees, where the truffles can form new mycorrhizal associations. Humans have also been attracted to truffle aromas for centuries, considering them culinary delicacies. Trained dogs and pigs are used to locate truffles underground, as humans cannot smell them through the soil. The high prices commanded by certain truffle species reflect both their desirability and the difficulty of finding these hidden fungi. Their intense aromas evolved to attract animals. The extraordinary smells of truffles, which can be detected by animals through several inches of soil, result from complex mixtures of volatile compounds. Each truffle species produces its own signature blend, with some compounds similar to mammalian pheromones, which may explain why animals find them so attractive. The evolution of underground fruiting bodies represents an interesting trade-off. By growing below ground, truffles avoid desiccation and are protected from many threats that surface mushrooms face. However, they sacrifice the efficient wind dispersal available to surface mushrooms and must instead invest in chemical attractants and rely on animal movements. This strategy has proven successful across many fungal lineages. True truffles belong to one group of fungi, but other unrelated fungi have independently evolved similar underground strategies, creating false truffles that use analogous approaches. Convergent evolution, repeatedly discovering the same solution, speaks to its effectiveness. Ants farm certain fungi in underground gardens. In tropical and subtropical regions, leaf-cutter ants have developed one of nature's most sophisticated agricultural systems. These ants cut fresh leaves from plants and carry them back to their nests, but they do not eat the leaves. Instead, they chew the leaves into a pulp and use it as a substrate to grow a specific fungus that serves as their only food source. The fungus grows in underground chambers that can be as large as basketballs, with billions of ants tending the garden, removing contaminants, adjusting humidity, and harvesting the fungal growth. The ants cannot survive without the fungus, and the fungus species they cultivate is found nowhere else in nature. It has been domesticated by ants and has evolved to produce special nutrient-rich structures that the ants harvest. This mutualism is ancient, having persisted for tens of millions of years. When a queen ant leaves to establish a new colony, she carries a starter culture of the fungus in a specialized pocket in her mouth, ensuring the new colony will have its essential food source. This relationship represents convergent evolution with human agriculture, showing that farming is not uniquely human, but a strategy that evolution can discover independently. Termites also cultivate fungi as their primary food source. Similar to leafcutter ants, certain termite species have independently evolved fungus farming. These termites, in the subfamily Macrotermitinae, construct elaborate underground nests, containing chambers specifically designed as fungal gardens. They gather dead plant material and use it to cultivate Termitomyces, a genus of fungi that exists nowhere else. The termites cannot digest the tough cellulose in wood and plant material efficiently on their own, but the fungi can break down these materials. The termites then consume the fungus, gaining nutrition from both the fungal tissue and the partially digested plant matter. The fungus benefits from the perfect growing conditions the termites provide, and from being spread to new termite colonies. Some Termitomyces species eventually send up large mushrooms above ground, often appearing during rainy seasons. These mushrooms are edible and collected by humans in some regions. It is remarkable to think that the mushrooms appearing on an African savanna may be the product of millions of tiny termite farmers working in darkness below, tending their crops with care. Fungi help break down environmental pollutants. Beyond their ecological roles in natural systems, fungi have proven valuable in addressing human-caused environmental problems. Certain fungal species can break down pollutants that would otherwise persist in soil and water for decades or centuries. This process, called mycoremediation, harnesses fungi's natural decomposition abilities. Fungi have been used to break down petroleum products after oil spills, degrading complex hydrocarbons into simpler, less harmful compounds. Other species can absorb and concentrate heavy metals, removing them from contaminated sites. Some fungi can even break down persistent pesticides, plastics, and other synthetic compounds that few organisms can process. These abilities stem from fungi's powerful enzymatic systems, which evolved to break down complex plant materials like lignin and cellulose. These same enzymes can often work on structurally similar synthetic compounds. As we face mounting challenges from pollution and contamination, fungi offer natural solutions that can help heal damaged ecosystems. They can even break down plastics and toxic compounds. Perhaps most surprisingly, researchers have discovered fungal species that can actually break down plastics, materials designed to be resistant to decomposition. Certain fungi produce enzymes that can cleave the chemical bonds in plastics like polyurethane, polyethylene, and polystyrene, slowly degrading these persistent pollutants. While this process is currently slow and not yet practical for large-scale waste management, it represents hope for addressing our plastic pollution crisis. The discovery that nature can eventually adapt to break down even our most persistent synthetic materials suggests that biological solutions may exist for many environmental challenges. Fungi have also been found that can detoxify nerve agents, break down explosives, and neutralize other hazardous compounds. Their metabolic versatility, developed over billions of years of evolution, continues to surprise scientists. What seems like waste to us may eventually become food for fungi, organisms that treat toxins as mere chemical puzzles to be solved. The mysterious lives of mushrooms. Some mushrooms only appear once every few years. While certain mushrooms fruit reliably each season, others are far more capricious. Some species may produce visible mushrooms only once every several years, or even once per decade. The mycelium persists underground, growing and gathering resources, but fruiting only when conditions align perfectly. This unpredictability makes certain mushrooms legendary among foragers. Matsutake mushrooms, prized in Japanese cuisine, are notoriously irregular in their appearance. A site that produced abundantly one year might yield nothing for several seasons afterward. The factors triggering fruiting in these species remain mysterious, likely involving complex interactions of temperature, moisture, and the physiological state of the fungus. For those who search for mushrooms, this unpredictability is part of the appeal. Finding a rare species that hasn't been seen in years creates a sense of discovery, a connection to something operating on its own timeline, indifferent to human schedules and expectations. Mushroom seasons vary dramatically with weather patterns. The appearance of mushrooms is intimately tied to weather conditions, particularly rainfall and temperature. A dry year might produce almost no mushrooms, while a wet autumn following a warm summer can create spectacular fruitings with mushrooms appearing in extraordinary numbers. These variations make mushroom foraging an activity deeply connected to each year's unique conditions. Experienced foragers learn to read weather patterns, knowing that certain sequences of rain and warmth will trigger specific mushrooms to appear. They develop an intuitive sense of timing, understanding that the best mushroom hunting often comes a few days after a soaking rain, when temperatures are moderate. This variability also means that the same walk taken at different times or in different years can reveal completely different fungal communities. The forest floor that seems bare in August might be carpeted with mushrooms in October. This seasonal mystery keeps the fungal world dynamic and surprising. Some mushrooms fruit in spring, others in autumn. Different mushroom species have evolved to fruit at different times of year, spreading their reproductive efforts across seasons when conditions favor their particular strategies. Spring mushrooms often appear as the ground warms after winter, taking advantage of moisture from melting snow and spring rains. Morels are classic spring mushrooms, appearing shortly after the last frost. Their emergence is eagerly anticipated by foragers who mark the progression of spring by the appearance of these prized fungi. Other spring species include early-season puffballs and various cup fungi that emerge on the forest floor. Autumn, however, is the peak season for most temperate mushrooms. As summer heat breaks and autumn rains arrive, the forest floor erupts with fungal life. The majority of recognizable mushroom species fruit in fall, creating a brief window of extraordinary diversity. This seasonal concentration may relate to the abundance of falling leaves, providing new substrate, or to advantages in releasing spores before winter. Temperature changes trigger many mushrooms to emerge. While moisture is crucial for mushroom fruiting, temperature plays an equally important role. Many species require a trigger of cooling temperatures to initiate the process of forming fruiting bodies. This requirement ensures they fruit at times when conditions are likely to remain favorable long enough for spores to mature and disperse. Scientists have discovered that sudden temperature drops can synchronize fruiting across wide areas. When a cold front moves through after a warm period, it can trigger thousands of individual fungal colonies to begin producing mushrooms simultaneously. This synchronization increases the chances that spores from different individuals will meet and combine, maintaining genetic diversity. The sensitivity to temperature explains why climate change is affecting fungal fruiting patterns. As temperatures shift and seasonal patterns change, mushrooms are appearing at different times than historical records indicate. Some species are fruiting earlier, others later, and some are producing fewer fruiting bodies. These shifts remind us that fungi, though resilient, are still tied to environmental conditions that we are rapidly altering. Mushrooms can survive freezing and resume growing when it warms. The fruiting bodies of mushrooms may seem delicate, but many species are surprisingly resilient to cold. A mushroom that emerges in late autumn might experience several freezing nights, yet continue to grow during warmer days. Some species specifically fruit in late fall or early winter, their mushrooms persisting even as snow begins to fall. This cold tolerance comes from adaptations at the cellular level. Many fungi produce compounds that act as antifreeze, preventing ice crystals from forming inside cells. The mycelium underground is even more cold-hardy, capable of surviving frozen soil and resuming growth when conditions improve. Some fungi thrive in Arctic and alpine environments, where freezing is the norm. The ability to tolerate freezing expands the seasonal window, during which fungi can fruit, and allows them to occupy habitats too cold for many other organisms. Late-season mushrooms, standing in snow or frozen to the ground during morning frost, yet still viable by afternoon, demonstrate the quiet toughness of these organisms. Fairy ring mushrooms can live for centuries. While individual mushrooms are ephemeral, lasting only days or weeks, the organisms that produce them can be extraordinarily long-lived. Fairy rings, those circular patterns of mushrooms in meadows, have been documented, persisting in the same locations for hundreds of years. Some are estimated to be over 7 centuries old. These ancient fairy rings expand slowly outward, sometimes growing only a few inches per year. Historical records from Europe document rings that have been noted in the same fields for generations, slowly growing across landscapes. The mycelium creating these patterns has persisted through human history, predating the buildings and roads around it. To stand within an ancient fairy ring is to stand inside a living organism older than the oldest trees nearby, one that has witnessed centuries of change while steadily expanding its circle. These rings are monuments to fungal longevity, persistence, and the slow, patient growth that characterizes much of the fungal kingdom. Some glow-in-the-dark mushrooms were used as natural lanterns. In regions where bioluminescent mushrooms are common, indigenous peoples have long been aware of their properties. Historical accounts from Japan, Indonesia, and other areas describe people using glowing mushrooms as natural light sources in the forest, placing them along paths to mark trails in darkness. The light produced is gentle and greenish, too dim to read by, but sufficient to provide orientation in complete darkness. Warriors and travelers reportedly carried pieces of glowing wood, colonized by bioluminescent fungi, using them as portable light sources that required no fuel or flame. These living lanterns would glow throughout the night, as long as the fungus remained alive and moist. While modern artificial lighting has made this practice obsolete, it represents a fascinating historical interaction between humans and fungi. Before batteries and electric lights, glowing mushrooms provided one of the few forms of biological illumination available. They were nature's gift to those who needed to navigate dark forests. The oldest living organism on Earth might be a fungus. In the competition for the title of Earth's oldest living organism, a fungus is a strong contender. The massive Armillaria in Oregon, estimated to be between 2,000 and 8,000 years old, may be the oldest individual organism currently alive. However, age determination in fungi is difficult since they don't have growth rings like trees. Some clonal fungal colonies, where genetically identical individuals spread across an area, could be even older. The mycelium persists and expands, essentially making the organism immortal, unless killed by disease or environmental catastrophe. Unlike animals that have definite lifespans, fungi can theoretically continue growing indefinitely. This potential for extreme longevity raises philosophical questions about what it means to be an individual organism. Is the massive mycelial network one being or many? When does continuation of growth become a new individual? Fungi challenge our assumptions about life, death, and persistence in ways that few other organisms do. The colorful world of mushrooms. Mushrooms display an astonishing range of colors. While many people picture mushrooms as brown or white, the fungal kingdom actually produces fruiting bodies in nearly every color imaginable. There are brilliant red mushrooms with white spots, like illustrations from fairy tales. Deep purple mushrooms that look almost artificial in their intensity. Golden yellow chanterelles that seem to capture sunshine. Bright blue milk caps that stain fingers azure when handled. These colors come from various pigments that serve different purposes. Some pigments protect against ultraviolet radiation. Others deter predators or indicate toxicity. Some seem to serve no purpose beyond being byproducts of metabolic processes. The diversity of colors makes mushroom hunting a visual feast, each new discovery offering a different hue. Color is also used by mycologists to help identify species. The exact shade of a mushroom cap, the color of its gills, and whether it bruises or changes color when damaged, are all important identifying characteristics. What might seem like pure aesthetic variation actually encodes information about species identity and relationships. Some are bright red with white spots. like classic fairy tale toadstools. The most iconic mushroom in popular culture is the fly agaric, Amanita muscaria, with its brilliant red cap covered in white warts. This mushroom appears in countless illustrations, decorations, and stories, from Alice in Wonderland to Super Mario Bros. Its distinctive appearance makes it instantly recognizable. The bright coloration serves as a warning. Fly agaric contains psychoactive compounds and can cause poisoning if consumed, though it is rarely fatal. The name comes from its historical use in some regions, where it was crumbled into milk to attract and poison flies. Despite its toxicity, it has been used ceremonially in various cultures, particularly in Siberia. The white spots on the cap are actually remnants of a universal veil that covered the entire young mushroom. As the cap expands, this veil tears away, leaving the characteristic patches. Rain can wash these spots away, so old specimens may lose their distinctive patterning. The fly agaric demonstrates how a mushroom's appearance can embed it deeply in human culture and imagination. Others are deep purple, almost black in certain light. At the other end of the spectrum, from bright reds, are mushrooms of deep purple, indigo, and near black. These dark mushrooms often grow on wood, their somber colors making them blend into shadows. Species like the violet webcap display colors so rich they almost seem to absorb light rather than reflect it. Purple and blue pigments in fungi often have antioxidant properties, suggesting they may protect the fungus from oxidative damage. Some of these pigments have even attracted interest from researchers looking for natural dyes or medicinal compounds. The intensity of color can vary with age and conditions, with young specimens often showing the deepest hues. Finding a deep purple mushroom in the duff of the forest floor creates a moment of striking contrast. Against the browns and greens of the forest, these mushrooms stand out like jewels. Their dark elegance offers a different kind of beauty than bright species, subtle yet unmistakable. Indigo milk caps ooze blue latex when cut. Among the most remarkable colored mushrooms are the indigo milk caps, species in the genus Lactarius, that contain a vivid blue latex. When the mushroom is cut or damaged, this blue liquid oozes out, creating an almost unnatural effect. The intensity of the blue is startling, looking more like paint than something produced by a living organism. These mushrooms are edible, and some foragers prize them for their novelty. Cooking them can turn food blue, a conversation-starting effect at dinner. The blue latex slowly oxidizes after exposure to air, eventually turning greenish and then brown. Fresh specimens with bright blue latex are unmistakable in identification. The blue compound is related to compounds that give other Lactarius species differently colored latex, some white, others orange. The variation in latex color across species provides evidence of chemical diversity within the genus. Each color represents a different compound or mixture, products of metabolic pathways that have diverged over millions of years. Golden chanterelles seem to capture sunlight. Chanterelles are beloved partly for their color, a golden yellow or apricot orange that makes them highly visible against the dark forest floor. They often grow in mossy areas under conifers or hardwoods, their warm color creating spots of light in shaded spaces. Finding a cluster of chanterelles feels like discovering hidden treasure, pieces of gold scattered through the forest. The color is more than decorative. It comes from carotenoid pigments, the same compounds that make carrots orange. These pigments may offer protection against light damage and oxidation. The exact shade varies among chanterelle species and can be influenced by environmental conditions, with some appearing pale yellow, while others develop deeper orange tones. The color remains even after cooking, with chanterelles maintaining their golden hue in dishes. This stability has made them popular not just for flavor, but for the visual appeal they add to food. A meal garnished with chanterelles carries a piece of the forest's warm glow to the table. Some mushrooms change color when bruised or exposed to air. Many mushrooms contain compounds that oxidize when exposed to air, causing dramatic color changes when the mushroom is cut or bruised. Some boletes turn blue within seconds of being handled, their yellow flesh transforming almost instantly. Others slowly darken from white to brown when damaged. These color changes are important identification features, but also indicate active chemistry. The blue staining reaction in many boletes results from compounds that may serve defensive roles. Puffballs might change from white to yellow to brown as they mature and their spores develop. These transformations create a kind of chemical clock, visibly marking the mushroom's stage of development. For foragers, these color changes can be useful or confusing. Some edible species blue when bruised, but so do some toxic ones. Learning which changes matter for identification is part of the skill of mushroom hunting. The changes themselves demonstrate that mushrooms are chemically dynamic, not static objects, but active organisms, processing compounds and responding to damage. White mushrooms often glow in dim forest light. While bright colors catch the eye, white mushrooms have their own ethereal beauty. In the dim light under a forest canopy, white mushrooms seem almost luminous, standing out against dark soil and leaf litter. Species like the destroying angel, ghost mushroom, and common puffballs appear as pale forms that draw attention precisely through their lack of color. The white color often comes from air spaces in the tissue that scatter light, similar to how snow appears white. Some white mushrooms are perfectly pure in their coloration, while others have subtle cream or grayish tones. Age often darkens white mushrooms, with older specimens taking on yellowish or brownish stains. There is something peaceful about encountering white mushrooms in a darkening forest. They seem to hold the last light of day, glowing softly as shadows deepen. Their pallor creates a sense of otherworldliness, as if they exist slightly apart from the colorful activity around them, quiet presences in the forest's dim corners. Rust-colored spore prints help identify certain species. When identifying mushrooms, one crucial technique is making a spore print, which reveals the color of the spores in mass. A mushroom cap is placed gill-side down on paper and left for several hours. The falling spores create a print that shows both the pattern of the gills and, importantly, the spore color. Spore prints can be white, cream, yellow, pink, brown, purple-brown, rust-colored, or black. This characteristic is so consistent within species groups that it's one of the primary ways mycologists organize mushrooms. A mushroom with white gills might produce brown or black spores, something not apparent until the print is made. Rust-colored prints are particularly distinctive, often characteristic of specific genera. The color comes from the spores themselves, each microscopic package containing pigments. To see thousands of these tiny spores creating a visible rust pattern on paper is to witness one of mushroom identification's small satisfactions, invisible elements combining to create visible proof. The ecological roles of fungi. Fungi are nature's primary decomposers. In the grand cycles of ecosystems, fungi play the essential role of decomposers. When leaves fall, trees die, and animals perish, it is largely fungi that break down these materials and return their nutrients to the soil. Without fungi performing this crucial function, forests would become choked with accumulated dead material, nutrients locked away in forms unavailable to living organisms. Fungi are particularly effective at decomposing tough plant materials like wood, leaves, and bark. Their enzymes can break down lignin and cellulose, complex compounds that few other organisms can process efficiently. This ability makes fungi essential in forest ecosystems, where woody debris is abundant. The decomposition process may seem like decay, but it is actually transformation. Nutrients that were bound in wood or leaves become available for new plant growth. Energy stored in dead matter is released and recycles through the ecosystem. Every mushroom growing on a log is part of this vital process, a visible marker of the endless recycling that keeps ecosystems functioning. They break down dead wood and return nutrients to soil. Walk through any forest and you will see logs in various stages of decomposition. Fresh, fallen logs are hard and intact. Years later, the same log might be soft and crumbling, covered in moss and sprouting seedlings. This transformation is largely the work of fungi. Wood-decomposing fungi colonize dead trees, producing enzymes that break down the complex polymers holding wood together. Some fungi specialize in breaking down cellulose, the main structural component of wood. Others focus on lignin, the compound that makes wood rigid and resistant to decay. Together, these fungi gradually reduce solid wood to soft humus. This process can take decades or even centuries for large logs. The log becomes habitat for countless organisms during its decomposition, hosting insects, salamanders, small mammals, and many other fungi. Eventually, the log disappears entirely, its nutrients fully return to the soil, ready to feed the next generation of forest growth. The mushrooms fruiting from these logs are the visible phase of this slow but essential work. Without fungi, forests would be buried in fallen leaves. Imagine a forest where nothing decomposed, where every leaf that fell simply accumulated in ever deeper layers. Within decades, forests would be buried under their own debris, unable to function. This scenario illustrates why fungi are indispensable. Leaf litter decomposition happens relatively quickly compared to wood decay, but it still requires fungal activity. Fungi colonize fallen leaves, breaking them down over the course of weeks to months. They work alongside bacteria and invertebrates, but fungi often do the heavy lifting, particularly for tougher leaves. The rate of decomposition varies with climate and leaf type. Oak leaves decompose more slowly than maple leaves. Decomposition happens faster in warm, moist conditions. But whether fast or slow, the process follows the same pattern. Fungi transforming complex structures into simpler compounds, maintaining the flow of nutrients through ecosystems. Different fungi specialize in different types of decomposition. The fungal kingdom displays remarkable specialization in decomposition. Some fungi exclusively decompose hardwoods like oak, while others specialize in softwoods like pine. Some grow only on bark, others only on the inner wood. Some colonize fresh wood while others appear only in first, advanced stages of decay. This specialization creates succession, with different fungal species appearing in sequence as a log decomposes. Early colonizers are often molds and other microscopic fungi. Later come species that produce small mushrooms. Eventually, large bracket fungi may appear, their perennial structures marking the log's slow transformation. Each stage prepares the substrate for the next wave of colonizers. Understanding these specializations helps ecologists predict how ecosystems will respond to changes. The loss of certain tree species means the loss of habitat for fungi that depend on them. The fungi, in turn, support other organisms in complex chains of dependency. Specialization creates diversity but also vulnerability. Fungi help cycle carbon through ecosystems. Carbon cycling is one of Earth's fundamental processes, and fungi play a central role. When plants photosynthesize, they capture carbon from the atmosphere and incorporate it into tissues. This carbon eventually returns to the atmosphere through respiration and decomposition. Fungi are major contributors to carbon release through decomposition. As they break down organic matter, they respire, releasing carbon dioxide back into the air. The balance between carbon capture by plants and carbon release by decomposers influences atmospheric carbon levels, and thus global climate. This role makes fungi important in understanding and predicting climate change. Changes in temperature and moisture affect fungal activity, altering decomposition rates and carbon release. Some research suggests that fungi may decompose organic matter more quickly as temperatures rise, potentially accelerating carbon release. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for climate modeling. Some fungi cause diseases in plants and animals. While many fungi benefit their ecosystems, others are pathogens that cause diseases. Plant pathogenic fungi are responsible for many serious agricultural diseases, from wheat, rust to chestnut blight. These diseases can devastate crops, forests, and ornamental plants, causing enormous economic and ecological damage. Fungi also cause diseases in animals, including humans. Athlete's foot, ringworm, and more serious systemic infections all result from fungal infections. Some amphibian populations have been decimated by chytrid fungus, a pathogen that has driven species to extinction. White nose syndrome, caused by a fungus, has killed millions of bats in North America. These pathogenic relationships remind us that fungi are not universally beneficial. They are organisms pursuing their own survival, and sometimes that comes at the expense of other species. However, pathogenic fungi also play ecological roles, helping regulate population sizes and removing weakened individuals. Disease is part of nature's complex balance. Dutch elm disease changed American forests forever. In the 1930 seconds, a fungal disease arrived in North America that would transform the landscape. Dutch elm disease, caused by a fungus spread by bark beetles, began killing American elm trees. Within decades, the disease had spread across the continent, killing tens of millions of elms. American elms had been beloved shade trees, lining streets in countless towns and cities. They were also important components of eastern forests. The disease killed trees of all ages, dramatically altering both urban and wild landscapes. Entire streets lost their canopies. Forest compositions shifted as elms disappeared. This disaster illustrated how vulnerable ecosystems can be to introduced fungal pathogens. It also spurred research into disease resistance and tree breeding. While American elms are now rare, efforts to develop resistant varieties offer hope. The legacy of Dutch elm disease is a transformed landscape and a lesson about the power of fungi to reshape the world. Chestnut blight eliminated a keystone forest species. Before 1900, American chestnuts were among the dominant trees. In eastern North American forests, these massive trees produced abundant nuts that fed wildlife and people. Then, chestnut blight, a fungal disease from Asia, arrived. Within 50 years, billions of chestnut trees were dead. The ecological impact was enormous. Wildlife that depended on chestnuts faced food shortages. Forest composition changed fundamentally as other species filled the gaps left by chestnuts. The loss rippled through ecosystems in ways still being understood today. Culturally, it eliminated a tree that had been important for timber, food, and tradition. American chestnuts still survive as root sprouts that grow for a few years before being killed back by the blight, but they no longer reach maturity. Efforts to breed blight-resistant chestnuts continue, with some success. The hope is that one day, these giants might return to their former prominence, a reminder that while fungi can destroy, human ingenuity might yet restore what was lost. The fascinating relationship between fungi and humans. Humans have foraged for mushrooms for thousands of years. The relationship between humans and mushrooms stretches deep into prehistory. Archaeological evidence suggests humans have been collecting and eating mushrooms for millennia. Ötzi the Iceman, the 5,300-year-old mummy found in the Alps, was carrying two types of fungi when he died, one likely for medicinal purposes and another possibly for starting fires. Traditional knowledge about mushrooms has been passed down through generations in cultures worldwide. Indigenous peoples developed sophisticated understanding of which mushrooms were edible, which were toxic, and which had medicinal or spiritual properties. This knowledge was survival critical in many environments where mushrooms provided important seasonal food sources. Even today, mushroom foraging remains important in many cultures. In parts of Europe, Asia, and North America, autumn mushroom hunting is a beloved tradition. Families pass down knowledge of productive spots and identification skills. This ancient practice connects modern people to their ancestors and to the forests that have always provided. Many cultures consider certain mushrooms delicacies. Mushrooms occupy special places in various culinary traditions. In Japan, matsutake mushrooms are so prized that perfect specimens can sell for hundreds of dollars. The aroma, described as spicy and complex, is deeply associated with autumn. Matsutake gifting is a cultural practice expressing respect and appreciation. European cultures treasure porcini, chanterelles, and truffles, with regions developing cuisines that showcase these fungi. In Mexico, corn smut, a fungal growth that would be considered a crop disease elsewhere, is harvested as huitlacoche and considered a delicacy. Different cultures have discovered and celebrated the mushrooms available in their regions. These culinary traditions reflect deep relationships with local ecosystems and seasons. Knowing when and where particular mushrooms appear, how to prepare them, and with what they pair best represents accumulated cultural knowledge. A mushroom dish can embody a specific place and time, preserving flavors that can't be cultivated or shipped. Truffles can cost thousands of dollars per pound. Among the most expensive foods in the world are certain truffle species, particularly white truffles from Italy. These underground fungi cannot be cultivated reliably, so they must be wild harvested using trained dogs or pigs to locate them. Scarcity, intense aroma, and culinary prestige combine to drive prices to extraordinary levels. The truffle market has its own culture and economy, with regions like Piedmont in Italy famous for their white truffles. Truffle hunters guard their productive locations jealously, sometimes for generations. Truffle festivals celebrate the harvest season, with auctions where single large truffles might sell for thousands of dollars. The price reflects not just rarity, but also the labor of finding them and their brief season. Truffles must be used fresh, as their aroma fades quickly. This ephemeral quality adds to their mystique. A dish with freshly shaved truffle represents a moment of perfect timing, when harvest, transport, and consumption align. Button mushrooms are actually the same species as portobello mushrooms. One of the most common mushrooms in grocery stores, offers a lesson in marketing and life stages. The small white button mushrooms, the larger cremini or baby bella mushrooms, and the fully mature portobello mushrooms are all the same species, Agaricus bisporus, harvested at different ages. Button mushrooms are harvested young, before the cap opens. Cremini are harvested slightly later with light brown caps. Portobellos are mature mushrooms with fully opened caps that can span several inches. The flavor intensifies with age, with portobellos having a meatier, more pronounced taste than button mushrooms. This single species accounts for a substantial portion of cultivated mushroom production worldwide. Its ability to grow in controlled environments, consistent productivity, and mild flavor have made it a commercial success. That 3 common mushroom types are actually one species surprises many people. illustrating how much there is to learn about even familiar fungi. Mushroom cultivation began in caves in France. Commercial mushroom cultivation has an interesting history. In the 1600s, French farmers discovered that mushrooms would grow on horse manure composted in caves. The cool, humid conditions of caves around Paris proved ideal for mushroom production. This discovery launched an industry. The caves provided stable temperatures and humidity year-round, allowing for continuous production. Workers would prepare compost, spawn it with mushroom mycelium, and harvest the resulting crops. The mushrooms grown were the same species we now call button or portobello mushrooms, which adapted well to cultivation. This cave cultivation spread to other regions and eventually moved above ground into specially built mushroom houses that recreated cave-like conditions. Today, mushroom cultivation is a global industry, but it still relies on the fundamental principles discovered in those French caves centuries ago. Controlled environment, proper substrate, and the right species make modern mushroom farming possible. Shiitake can be grown on logs in your backyard. While some mushrooms require industrial facilities, others can be cultivated on a small scale. Shiitake mushrooms, originally cultivated in Asia, grow naturally on logs of certain hardwood species. Home growers can purchase logs, drill holes in them, and inoculate them with shiitake spawn. The mycelium colonizes the log over several months. Once fully colonized, the log can produce flushes of mushrooms several times per year for several years, until the log is fully decomposed. Soaking the log in cold water shocks the mycelium and triggers fruiting, allowing some control over when mushrooms appear. This accessible cultivation method has made shiitake popular among home mushroom growers and small-scale farmers. It demonstrates how traditional cultivation knowledge can be practiced at various scales. A backyard woodlot can become a mushroom farm, producing food while playing a role in nutrient cycling as the logs slowly decompose. Oyster mushrooms grow on coffee grounds and cardboard. Oyster mushrooms are among the easiest to cultivate and among the least particular about substrate. They will happily grow on coffee grounds, straw, cardboard, and many other materials. This versatility has made them popular for both commercial cultivation and home-growing experiments. Their ability to grow on waste materials has inspired various sustainability projects. Spent coffee grounds from cafes can be inoculated with oyster mushroom spawn, turning waste into food. Cardboard can be shredded, moistened, and spawned, creating a mushroom-growing medium from recycling materials. These approaches demonstrate fungi's natural role as decomposers while producing edible mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms also grow quickly, producing harvestable mushrooms sometimes within weeks of spawning. Their pleasant flavor, substantial texture, and reliable growth make them ideal for experimentation. Anyone interested in growing mushrooms can often succeed with oyster mushrooms, learning the basics of fungal cultivation firsthand. Some mushrooms are among the most expensive foods in the world. Beyond truffles, other mushrooms command extraordinary prices. Matsutake mushrooms at their peak can rival truffle prices. Morels, particularly in areas where they're less common, can sell for very high prices per pound. Certain rare mushrooms that cannot be cultivated are prized by gourmets willing to pay premium prices. These high values reflect several factors: scarcity, inability to cultivate, brief seasons, labor-intensive harvesting, and culinary desirability. A mushroom that appears only briefly each year in limited locations must be hand-picked, and is beloved by chefs will naturally command high prices. The economics of rare mushrooms create incentives for conservation and sustainable harvesting. The high value also creates challenges. Over-harvesting of wild mushrooms can damage populations. Poaching on public lands becomes an issue. The mushroom black market in some regions involves significant money and occasional conflicts. These economic pressures illustrate how human values intersect with fungal ecology in complex ways. Mushroom hunting requires skill and knowledge to avoid poisonous species. The appeal of foraging wild mushrooms comes with serious responsibility. Many mushrooms are poisonous, some lethally so. Distinguishing edible from toxic species requires knowledge that takes time to develop. Even experienced foragers exercise caution and never assume identification without thorough verification. Some poisonous mushrooms closely resemble edible ones. The destroying angel and deathcap can look similar to edible species to untrained eyes. These mushrooms contain toxins that damage the liver and kidneys, with symptoms sometimes delayed until serious harm has occurred. Eating even a small amount can be fatal. This danger means mushroom foraging should never be casual. Field guides help, but are not sufficient alone. Learning from experienced foragers, studying multiple identification characteristics, and erring on the side of caution are essential. The rule among foragers is simple. If there is any doubt about identification, don't eat it. The forest offers enough safely identifiable species that taking risks is unnecessary. The hidden dangers and mysteries. Some of the deadliest mushrooms look deceptively innocent. The most dangerous mushrooms are often not grotesque or obviously threatening. Deathcaps are unremarkable-looking mushrooms with pale greenish or brownish caps. They could easily be overlooked or mistaken for edible species. Their innocent appearance makes them particularly dangerous to novice foragers. Destroying angels are pure white, elegant mushrooms that could be confused with edible white mushrooms. Several fatalities have resulted from these misidentifications. The toxins these mushrooms contain, amatoxins, are among the most potent natural poisons known. They damage the liver and kidneys, and by the time symptoms appear, often 12 to 24 hours after consumption, serious damage has already occurred. There is no antidote for amatoxin poisoning. Treatment is supportive, focused on managing symptoms and supporting organ function while the body slowly eliminates the toxins. Many people who survive amatoxin poisoning require liver transplants. These mushrooms demonstrate that in nature, danger doesn't always advertise itself. Deathcap mushrooms are responsible for most fatal mushroom poisonings. A single species, the deathcap, Amanita phalloide, accounts for the majority of mushroom poisoning deaths worldwide. Originally from Europe, it has been introduced to North America, Australia, and other regions, likely spread with imported trees that carry its mycorrhizal mycelium. Deathcaps often grow near oak trees, with which they form mycorrhizal associations. They appear in late summer and autumn, sometimes in parks and suburban areas where people might not expect dangerous mushrooms. Their resemblance to certain edible species that are important in some culinary traditions has led to tragic cases of mistaken identity. The death toll from deathcaps, while not huge in absolute numbers, represents preventable tragedies. Each case often involves someone with cultural knowledge of edible mushrooms from their homeland, not realizing that similar-looking species in their new home might be deadly. The deathcap is a reminder of how critical correct identification is. Some poisonous mushrooms cause hallucinations. Not all toxic mushrooms are deadly. Some contain compounds that affect the nervous system, causing hallucinations and altered consciousness. These psychoactive mushrooms have been used ceremonially in various cultures, but can also cause serious adverse effects, particularly when consumed without proper knowledge or preparation. Psilocybin mushrooms, containing the compound psilocybin, grow in many regions worldwide. They have been used in spiritual contexts in parts of Mesoamerica for centuries. The effects vary with dose, but typically include visual distortions, altered time perception, and profound changes in thought patterns. Recent research has explored their potential therapeutic applications for conditions like depression and anxiety. Fly agaric contains different psychoactive compounds that can cause delirium, confusion, and unusual sensory experiences. Historical accounts suggest it was used ceremonially in parts of Siberia. However, its effects are less predictable than psilocybin mushrooms, and it can cause significant discomfort. The line between psychoactive and toxic is not always clear. Destroying angels cause symptoms only after severe damage has occurred. One of the most insidious aspects of amatoxin-containing mushrooms like destroying angels is the delayed onset of symptoms. A person might eat the mushrooms and feel fine for 12 to 24 hours. During this period, they might assume everything is okay, that the mushrooms were safe. Then symptoms begin: severe gastrointestinal distress, vomiting, and diarrhea. This might last a day or two before seeming to improve. But this apparent recovery, sometimes called the honeymoon phase, is deceptive. During this time, the toxins are causing massive liver and kidney damage. By the time the person enters the final phase, with organ failure becoming apparent, irreversible damage has already occurred. This delayed progression makes these mushrooms particularly dangerous, as the window for effective treatment is narrow. Even experienced foragers can make fatal mistakes. The danger of mushroom foraging is that expertise reduces but never eliminates risk. There are documented cases of experienced mycologists and long-time foragers making identification errors that resulted in poisoning or death. Fatigue, distraction, or simply encountering a mushroom in an unusual form or location can lead to mistakes. Sometimes, mushrooms are misidentified because they're found in unexpected places. A species common in one region might have a look-alike in another area. Climate change is also causing some species to fruit at unusual times or in new locations, potentially confusing even experienced observers. The variability within species, with individuals sometimes looking quite different from typical specimens, adds another layer of complexity. This reality underscores that mushroom foraging always carries risk. The responsible approach is to maintain humility, never stop learning, and when doubt exists, to walk away. Even a 99% certainty isn't enough when the consequence of error could be death. The forest will have more mushrooms next time. Mushroom poisoning symptoms can be delayed for days. Beyond the amatoxins, other mushroom toxins also feature delayed symptoms. Some species cause kidney damage that might not become apparent for several days after consumption. Gyrometra species contain gyrometrin, which can cause severe liver damage, sometimes with delayed onset. This delay complicates medical treatment. By the time someone seeks help, connecting their symptoms to a mushroom they ate days earlier might not be obvious. Doctors might not think to ask about mushroom consumption if the patient doesn't volunteer the information. Valuable treatment time can be lost. The delay also creates a false sense of security. Someone who eats a mushroom and feels fine for the first day might tell others the mushroom is safe. Those others might eat more of the same species, compounding the tragedy. This is why traditional foraging cultures developed strict rules and protocols, recognizing that casual experimentation with unknown mushrooms can have terrible consequences. Some mushrooms contain toxins that accumulate over time. Certain mushrooms are not acutely toxic, but contain compounds that accumulate in the body with repeated consumption. False morels, for example, contain gyrometrin, which converts to a carcinogenic compound. Eating them occasionally might not cause immediate problems, but regular consumption over years increases cancer risk. Other species accumulate heavy metals from soil. Mushrooms that grow in contaminated areas can concentrate lead, mercury, cadmium, and other toxic metals. A single meal might not cause obvious harm, but eating contaminated mushrooms regularly allows these metals to accumulate in human tissues, potentially causing long-term health problems. This cumulative toxicity is harder to recognize than acute poisoning. There's no immediate feedback connecting cause and effect. Someone might consume problematic mushrooms for years before health issues emerge, and even then, the connection might not be obvious. This highlights the importance of knowing not just species identity but also growing conditions and contamination risks. Never eat a mushroom unless absolutely certain of its identity. This principle is repeated endlessly in mushroom foraging literature because it is absolutely crucial. Uncertainty means don't eat it. Thinking it's probably a certain species isn't enough. Being fairly sure isn't enough. Absolute certainty, based on multiple identifying characteristics and extensive knowledge, is the minimum standard. The consequences of error are too severe for casual approaches. While most poisonous mushrooms cause only gastrointestinal upset, the ones that kill do so effectively. The risk-benefit calculation is clear. Missing out on a potentially edible mushroom costs nothing but a meal, while eating a poisonous one could cost everything. This caution should never be seen as fearful, but rather as respectful. Fungi are powerful organisms producing complex chemistry. Approaching them with humility and care is appropriate. The forest offers its gifts to those who take time to learn properly and who never let confidence outpace knowledge. The microscopic world of fungi. Most fungal life exists at microscopic scale. The mushrooms we see are actually rare exceptions in the fungal kingdom. The vast majority of fungi never produce anything visible to the naked eye. They exist as microscopic threads of mycelium in soil, as single-celled yeasts floating in the air and living on surfaces, and as tiny molds growing on every conceivable substrate. These microscopic fungi are absolutely everywhere. Every breath contains fungal spores. Every surface hosts fungal communities. Soil teems with fungal hyphae threading between particles. Water contains aquatic fungi. Even the air high in the atmosphere has been found to contain viable fungal cells. The microscopic fungal world vastly outnumbers and outweighs the visible mushrooms. To understand fungi, we must recognize that what we can see is just the tip of the iceberg. The real fungal kingdom is largely invisible, operating at scales that require microscopes to observe. This hidden majority shapes ecosystems, influences health, and cycles nutrients in ways just as important as their more conspicuous mushroom-producing relatives. Fungal spores are floating all around us constantly. The air we breathe is never empty. It contains thousands of particles per cubic meter, and many of those particles are fungal spores. Some estimates suggest that spore concentrations can reach hundreds of thousands per cubic meter in some environments, particularly near the ground in forests during autumn. These spores are passive travelers, waiting for favorable conditions to germinate. Most will never successfully establish themselves, but the strategy works because of sheer numbers. Produce enough spores, and some will inevitably land in suitable locations. The ubiquity of spores means that any organic material exposed to air will quickly be colonized by fungi. For people with allergies, fungal spores are a significant concern. They can trigger respiratory issues and allergic reactions. Spore counts are tracked in many regions, similar to pollen counts, helping sensitive individuals plan outdoor activities. The invisible cloud of spores surrounding us at all times represents both the dispersal stage of the fungal life cycle and a constant presence in human health. Molds are fungi growing in fuzzy colonies. When food spoils or damp areas develop fuzzy growth, we're seeing molds, which are simply fungi that produce microscopic spores on aerial structures visible to the eye as fuzz. Many different fungal species can appear as molds, united not by close relationship but by their similar growth pattern. Bread mold, the black, fuzzy growth on old bread, is actually producing thousands of tiny spore-bearing structures. Bathroom mold, growing in damp grout or corners, represents fungi taking advantage of moisture and organic matter. Each colored patch, whether black, green, white, or pink, likely represents a different fungal species. While molds are often unwelcome in homes, they're essential decomposers in nature. They quickly colonize fresh organic matter, beginning the decomposition process. Their rapid growth and prolific spore production allow them to exploit temporary resources before more slowly growing fungi arrive. In ecosystems, molds are pioneer organisms, first responders to new decomposition opportunities. Yeasts are single-celled fungi. Not all fungi form multicellular structures. Yeasts remain as single cells, reproducing by budding or dividing rather than by forming mycelial networks. This lifestyle is adapted to liquid environments, where a single-celled form can access nutrients dissolved in surrounding fluids. Some yeasts live on fruit skins, feeding on sugars in the fruit. Others live in animal digestive systems, breaking down materials their hosts cannot digest. Still others float in the air, landing on any sugary substrate they encounter. The diversity of yeast species and their ecological roles is considerable, though they're less familiar than mushrooms. Yeasts demonstrate that the fungal kingdom encompasses many strategies for survival and reproduction. From massive mycelial networks to single floating cells, fungi have explored numerous ways of being. This diversity of form reflects diversity of function and adaptation to varied environments. Bread making relies on yeast fermentation. One of humanity's oldest relationships with fungi involves bread making. The yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae consumes sugars in dough and produces carbon dioxide as a waste product. This gas forms bubbles that cause the dough to rise, creating the light, airy texture of risen bread. The process has been used for thousands of years, long before anyone understood what yeast was. Traditional sourdough starters contain complex communities of yeasts and bacteria that have been maintained, sometimes for generations. The specific mixture in each starter gives bread distinctive flavors and textures. Understanding yeast as a living organism that could be cultivated and controlled revolutionized baking. Commercial yeast production allows consistent results, though many bakers still prefer wild-captured yeasts for their complexity. Every loaf of risen bread represents a partnership with fungi, invisible workers whose metabolism transforms flour and water into something new. Beer and wine depend on fungal fermentation. Like bread, alcoholic beverages rely on yeast fermentation. When yeasts consume sugars in grape juice or grain mashes, they produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. Different yeast strains produce different flavor compounds, which is why specific yeasts are carefully selected for particular wines or beers. The fermentation process is actually the yeast's way of processing sugars in the absence of oxygen. Alcohol is toxic to most organisms, but yeasts have evolved tolerance to certain levels, allowing them to thrive in fermenting liquids where competitors cannot survive. Eventually, as alcohol levels rise, even the yeasts are inhibited, which is why natural fermentation produces only limited alcohol concentrations. Humans have been fermenting beverages for thousands of years, with evidence of beer production dating back to ancient Mesopotamia and wine to even earlier times. The partnership with yeast transformed human cultures, providing preserved calories, safe drinking alternatives to potentially contaminated water, and social beverages. Fungi have shaped human societies in fundamental ways. Cheese-making often involves specific fungal cultures. Many cheeses owe their character to fungi. Blue cheeses like Roquefort and Gorgonzola are inoculated with Penicillium roqueforti, which grows through the cheese, forming the characteristic blue veins. The fungus contributes distinctive, sharp, tangy flavors that define these cheeses. Soft ripened cheeses like brie and camembert are sprayed with Penicillium camemberti, which forms the white rind and contributes to the cheese's texture and flavor as it ages. Without these fungi, these cheeses would be completely different products. The fungi break down fats and proteins, transforming texture and creating complex flavor compounds. Traditional cheese making relied on naturally occurring fungi in aging caves and cellars. Modern production uses cultured fungi to ensure consistency, but the principle remains the same. Fungi are partners in creating foods that would not exist without them, demonstrating that our relationship with the fungal kingdom includes some of civilization's most valued culinary traditions. Penicillin, the first antibiotic, came from a fungus. One of the most important medical discoveries in history involved a fungus. In 1928, Alexander Fleming noticed that a penicillium mold, contaminating a bacterial culture, had killed the surrounding bacteria. This observation led to the development of penicillin, the first widely used antibiotic. Penicillin and related antibiotics have saved countless millions of lives, transforming medicine and dramatically increasing life expectancy. Infections that were once frequently fatal became treatable. Surgeries became safer. The impact on human health cannot be overstated. The discovery demonstrated that fungi produce powerful chemical compounds as part of their natural ecology. Penicillium produces antibiotics to suppress competing bacteria in its environment. Humans learned to harness this fungal chemical warfare for medicine. Many other medically important compounds have since been discovered in fungi. Continuing the revolution Fleming began, many other medicines are derived from fungal compounds. Beyond penicillin, fungi have provided numerous other medicines. Statins, widely used to lower cholesterol, were first isolated from fungi. Cyclosporine, which suppresses immune system rejection and makes organ transplants possible, comes from a fungus. Various cancer treatments have fungal origins. These discoveries typically start with observation of fungal chemistry in nature. Fungi produce defensive compounds to protect themselves from predators and competitors. These compounds often have biological activity that can be harnessed medically. Screening fungal species for useful compounds continues to yield new drug candidates. The pharmaceutical potential of fungi is far from exhausted. With millions of fungal species, most still unknown to science, researchers believe countless valuable compounds await discovery. Each new fungus described might contain chemistry that could treat diseases or solve medical challenges. The fungal kingdom is a library of potential medicines. Fungi produce both beneficial and harmful compounds. The chemical production of fungi is a double-edged sword. The same metabolic pathways that produce useful medicines also produce toxins and allergens. Fungi generate these compounds for their own purposes, not for human benefit, so the effects on humans are secondary consequences. Mycotoxins produced by molds can contaminate food and cause illness. Aflatoxins from Aspergillus species are potent carcinogens that can contaminate nuts, grains, and other crops. Ergot alkaloids from Claviceps fungi can contaminate grain and cause serious poisoning. Food safety systems must monitor for these fungal contaminants. At the same time, controlled production of fungal compounds has given us medicines, food ingredients, and industrial chemicals. Understanding which fungi produce which compounds, and under what conditions, allows us to maximize benefits while minimizing harms. The relationship requires knowledge and respect for the power of fungal chemistry. The ancient partnership between fungi and life lichens are partnerships between fungi and algae. Walking through forests, hiking in mountains, or even observing city trees, you'll encounter lichens, crusty or leafy growths on rocks, bark, and soil. These organisms are actually partnerships, a fungus and a photosynthetic partner, usually algae or cyanobacteria, living together as one. The fungus provides structure and protection, creating the body of the lichen and shielding the photosynthetic cells from intense light and desiccation. The photosynthetic partner produces sugars through photosynthesis, feeding both itself and the fungus. Together, they can survive in environments where neither could exist alone. Lichens demonstrate that fungi are capable of extraordinarily intimate partnerships. The relationship is so integrated that lichens are named as if they were single organisms, even though they're composite beings. They challenge our definitions of what constitutes an individual, showing that life's boundaries are often blurrier than we assume. They can survive in extreme environments. Lichens are among Earth's hardiest organisms, colonizing environments hostile to most life. They grow on bare rock faces, in Arctic tundra, in hot deserts, and in high mountains. Some lichens can survive being frozen, desiccated, or exposed to intense UV radiation, resuming growth when conditions improve. This resilience comes from the partnership. The fungal structure can dry out completely and remain viable for years. When moisture returns, the lichen rehydrates and photosynthesis resumes. Lichens have survived experimental exposure to the vacuum and radiation of space, demonstrating remarkable tolerance to environmental extremes. In harsh environments, lichens often act as pioneer organisms, the first to colonize bare substrates. They slowly weather rock surfaces, contributing to soil formation. Over centuries, their growth and decomposition create the first organic matter that allows other organisms to gain footholds. Lichens are patient architects of ecosystems. Some lichens grow only a few millimeters per decade. Lichen growth is extraordinarily slow. Large lichen colonies growing on rocks can be hundreds or even thousands of years old. In Arctic environments where growth conditions are marginal, some species might add only a millimeter or less per year. This slow growth makes lichens useful for dating rock surfaces and estimating how long since landscapes were last disturbed. Because of their slow growth, lichens are vulnerable to disturbances. A single careless step might destroy decades or centuries of growth. Collection for research or decoration can damage populations that will take generations to recover. This fragility makes lichens particularly sensitive indicators of environmental change. The age of large lichen colonies is humbling. That grayish crust on a boulder might have begun growing before Columbus sailed, persisting quietly through centuries of human history. Lichens exist on timescales vastly different from our own, patient organisms that measure existence in centuries. They're sensitive to air pollution. Lichens absorb nutrients and water directly from their surroundings, having no protective cuticle like many plants. This makes them highly sensitive to air pollutants, particularly sulfur dioxide and heavy metals. Industrial pollution and urban air quality problems cause lichens to sicken or disappear. Ecologists use lichens as biological indicators of air quality. The presence or absence of sensitive species can indicate pollution levels more reliably than periodic air quality measurements. Lichen surveys around cities often show deserts in the most polluted areas, with diversity increasing in cleaner zones. The recovery of lichen populations following pollution reduction provides hope. As air quality has improved in many industrialized regions following environmental regulations, lichens have returned to areas where they had vanished. Their reappearance signals healing, sensitive organisms giving testimony to improving conditions. Reindeer lichens form dense mats on tundra. In Arctic and subarctic regions, certain lichens grow in dense, spongy mats that can dominate the landscape. Reindeer lichens, despite their common name, are used as food by caribou and reindeer across their ranges. These animals depend on lichens, particularly during winter when other food is scarce. The lichens grow slowly in the short growing season but accumulate biomass over years. Their ability to survive freezing and to photosynthesize at low temperatures allows them to thrive where other organisms struggle. The spongy growth form traps moisture and creates microhabitats for small invertebrates. Traditional peoples in Arctic regions have recognized reindeer lichens' importance for their domestic herds. Sustainable reindeer herding requires managing grazing patterns to allow lichens time to recover, as overgrazed areas might take decades to regenerate. The relationship between lichens, herbivores, and people illustrates the interconnections in northern ecosystems. Some lichens produce brilliant colors used as natural dyes. Certain lichens contain colorful compounds that can be extracted and used as dyes. Historical textile industries used lichen dyes to color fabrics, with different species producing reds, purples, browns, and other hues. Harris Tweed from Scotland traditionally used lichen dyes, giving the fabric distinctive earthy colors. The extraction process varies by species. Some lichens must be fermented to develop their colors. Others release dyes through hot water extraction. The colors are often subtle and variable, creating the organic variation prized in traditional textiles. Though synthetic dyes have largely replaced lichen dyes commercially, interest in natural dyeing has revived these traditional practices. Using lichens for dye must be done sustainably, given their slow growth. Historically, overharvesting damaged lichen populations in some regions. Modern practitioners typically use only small amounts, or cultivate lichens specifically for dyeing. The colors lichens produce connect weavers and dyers to ancient traditions and to the slow chemistry of these remarkable organisms. Ancient forests host hundreds of lichen species. In old-growth forests, particularly temperate rainforests, lichen diversity can be extraordinary. Hundreds of species might coexist in a single forest, each occupying specific microhabitats. Some grow on bark in the canopy, others on shaded trunks, still others on rocks or fallen logs. This diversity contributes to forest ecology in numerous ways. Lichens provide food for slugs, insects, and other invertebrates. They trap moisture and nutrients that then become available to other organisms. Nitrogen-fixing lichens containing cyanobacteria capture atmospheric nitrogen and slowly release it into ecosystems where it's often limiting. The loss of old forests means loss of lichen habitat. Many species require the specific conditions that only mature forests provide: the stable humidity, the complex structure, the accumulated deadwood. When ancient forests are cut, these lichen species disappear, taking with them their unique chemistries and ecological roles. The spiritual and cultural significance of mushrooms. Many cultures have myths and folklore about mushrooms. Mushrooms appear in the mythology and folklore of cultures worldwide. Their sudden appearance, unusual forms, and mysterious nature have made them subjects of countless stories. European folklore held that fairy rings marked the dancing grounds of fairies, and entering one could trap you in the fairy realm. In some traditions, mushrooms were associated with toads, dragons, or serpents, perhaps because some mushrooms are toxic, and these animals were also seen as poisonous. Other cultures saw mushrooms as gifts from the gods, or as connections to the spirit world. The diversity of beliefs reflects mushrooms' universal presence and their ability to inspire imagination. These stories often contained practical information encoded in narrative form. A tale about a poisonous mushroom that killed someone served as a memorable warning. Stories about where certain mushrooms grew and when they appeared transmitted foraging knowledge. Folklore and mycology were not separate, but intertwined. Some mushrooms have been used in spiritual ceremonies. Psilocybin mushrooms have been used ceremonially in Mesoamerica for thousands of years. The Aztecs called them Teonanacatl, flesh of the gods, using them in religious contexts. Indigenous peoples in various regions have incorporated psychoactive mushrooms into spiritual practices, viewing them as tools for communicating with the divine or for healing. These practices were often suppressed by colonial authorities, but persisted in some communities. In recent decades, there has been renewed interest in understanding these traditional uses and the cultural contexts surrounding them. Modern research into psilocybin's therapeutic potential has validated some of what traditional practitioners have known for centuries, that these compounds can facilitate profound psychological experiences. The use of mushrooms in spiritual contexts reflects a recognition of their power. They alter consciousness, change perception, and can induce experiences that feel meaningful and transformative. For cultures that used them ceremonially, mushrooms were mediators between ordinary and spiritual realms. Mushroom motifs appear in art across many civilizations. From ancient rock art to medieval manuscripts to modern design, mushrooms have inspired visual artists. The iconic red and white fly agaric appears in everything from fairy tale illustrations to holiday decorations. Its instantly recognizable form has become a symbol for magic, mystery, and the enchanted forest. Mushroom forms also appear in architecture. Art Nouveau designs incorporated organic forms, including mushroom shapes. Some modern buildings consciously echo mushroom structures in their design. The variety of mushroom shapes provides endless inspiration for artists seeking organic, flowing forms. Contemporary art continues to engage with mushrooms. Artists create large-scale mushroom installations, cultivate fungi as art materials, or document fungal diversity photographically. The mushroom as subject allows exploration of themes including transformation, decay, hidden networks, and the relationship between human and natural worlds. They symbolize transformation and the cycle of life. Mushrooms' role in decomposition and their sudden emergence make them powerful symbols of transformation and renewal. They appear at the boundary between life and death, transforming dead matter back into nutrients that support new life. This position in the life cycle has given them symbolic significance in many traditions. In seasonal celebrations, autumn mushrooms mark the year's transition, the movement from abundance toward dormancy. They remind us that decay is not an ending but a transformation, that nutrients cycle eternally. This understanding finds expression in spiritual and philosophical frameworks across cultures. The mushroom as symbol carries meanings of mystery, change, connection, and continuation. It represents the hidden workings of nature, the processes that happen outside our direct observation, but that fundamentally shape our world. To contemplate a mushroom is to contemplate impermanence and transformation. In some traditions, they're associated with immortality. The lingji or reishi mushroom holds special status in East Asian cultures, particularly in China. It has been called the mushroom of immortality and appears in art, literature, and medicine for thousands of years. While it doesn't actually confer immortality, its status reflects the deep cultural significance fungi can attain. The association with immortality may stem from several factors. Some fungi are extremely long-lived, giving them an appearance of permanence. Their apparent ability to arise spontaneously suggested magical properties. Their use in traditional medicine to treat various ailments suggested they possessed special powers. Whether as literal belief or metaphor, associating mushrooms with immortality speaks to their mysterious nature. They occupy a liminal space in human understanding, neither plant nor animal, emerging from hidden networks, transforming death into life. They remind us of cycles that transcend individual lives. Mushrooms are increasingly featured in contemporary design. Modern design has embraced mushrooms for their aesthetic appeal and sustainable properties. Mushroom motifs appear in textiles, jewelry, dishware, and countless other applications. The diversity of mushroom forms provides endless design inspiration. More intriguingly, fungi are being used as materials. Mycelium can be grown into specific shapes and then dried to create a leather-like material, or formed into packaging materials that are fully biodegradable. Companies are developing mycelium-based alternatives to plastics, building materials, and textiles. These applications harness fungi's natural growth patterns to create sustainable products. This fusion of fungi and design represents an emerging field where biology and technology meet. Growing materials rather than manufacturing them offers potential environmental benefits. It also reflects changing attitudes toward fungi, from organisms to be avoided or merely consumed, to organisms whose capabilities we can learn from and partner with. The future of fungi scientists are still discovering thousands of new species. Despite centuries of mycological study, the fungal kingdom remains incompletely described. Scientists estimate there may be between 2.2 and 3.8 million fungal species on Earth, yet only about 150,000 have been formally described. This means that roughly 95% of fungal diversity remains unknown to science. New species are being discovered constantly, from tropical rainforests, from caves, from ocean depths, and even from urban environments. Each discovery adds to our understanding of fungal diversity and evolution. Some newly discovered fungi have surprising properties, unusual chemistries, or unexpected ecological roles. The vast unknown fungal diversity likely contains solutions to problems we haven't even identified yet. Fungi, with unusual enzymes, might break down pollutants or provide industrial catalysts. Fungi in extreme environments might offer insights into survival strategies. Every new species described expands the boundaries of what we know is possible. Fungi may help solve environmental challenges. As we face mounting environmental crises, fungi offer potential solutions. Mycoremediation can clean polluted sites. Fungi can break down plastics and other persistent waste. Fungal enzymes might provide alternatives to energy-intensive industrial processes. Fungi could also play roles in sustainable agriculture. Mycorrhizal inoculants can reduce fertilizer needs by improving plant nutrient uptake. Some fungi can suppress plant pathogens, offering biological alternatives to chemical fungicides. Better understanding and management of soil fungal communities could increase crop yields while reducing environmental impacts. Carbon sequestration is another potential fungal contribution. Mycorrhizal fungi move substantial amounts of carbon underground, where it can remain stored for long periods. Managing ecosystems to promote fungal carbon storage might help mitigate climate change. Fungi remind us that solutions to human problems often already exist in nature, waiting to be understood and applied. Mycelium is being used to create sustainable materials. The material science, applications of time-distance science, fungi are expanding rapidly. Mycelium-based materials can replace styrofoam packaging, providing protection while being completely biodegradable. Companies are growing mycelium leather that can be used for shoes, bags, and clothing without animal products or petroleum-based synthetics. Mycelium building materials are under development, with potential applications in construction. The material is lightweight, insulating, fire-resistant, and biodegradable. It can be grown into specific shapes, potentially revolutionizing how we think about manufacturing. Growing a product, rather than building it from mined or manufactured materials, represents a fundamental shift. These applications are still emerging, but they demonstrate fungi's potential in addressing sustainability challenges. Using biology to create materials aligns production with natural cycles. It suggests a future where more of what we make can return harmlessly to Earth when we're done with it, closing loops that currently remain open. Fungal networks inspire new technologies. The interconnected networks of mycelium have inspired computer scientists and engineers. The way fungal networks distribute resources, route information, and self-organize without central control offers models for designing distributed systems, from computer networks to transportation systems. Researchers have even built computers using fungal networks, sending electrical signals through mycelium and using the network's responses to perform simple computations. While these fungal computers are primarily research projects, they demonstrate that biological systems can process information in ways different from electronic computers. The study of how fungal networks solve problems, like finding the shortest path between resources or adapting to damage, has practical applications in designing resilient systems. Fungi have been solving network optimization problems for millions of years, and we are beginning to learn from their solutions. Understanding fungi deepens our understanding of ecosystems. Every advance in mycology reveals new connections and dependencies. Fungi touch virtually every aspect of terrestrial ecology. Understanding fungal roles in nutrient cycling, plant health, disease dynamics, and community structure is essential for understanding ecosystems holistically. As we work to conserve and restore ecosystems, fungal knowledge becomes crucial. Restoration projects increasingly include fungal considerations, ensuring that not just plants, but also their fungal partners are present. Soil management in agriculture benefits from understanding fungal communities and their roles in soil health. The more we learn about fungi, the more we realize how much they shape the living world. They are not peripheral organisms, but central players in nearly every ecosystem. Deepening our understanding of fungi deepens our understanding of life on Earth and our place within it. Fungi challenge us to think beyond the visible. Perhaps fungi's greatest lesson is that what we can see is just a small part of what exists. The mushrooms that catch our eye are brief, visible phases of vast invisible organisms. The mycelial networks threading through every footstep of soil represent most of the fungal kingdom's biomass and activity. This reminds us to look deeper, to question assumptions, to recognize that understanding requires looking beyond surface appearances. The invisible world is not less real or important than the visible one. In fact, much of what shapes our world operates beyond our direct perception. Fungi invite us to stretch our imagination, to consider the slow growth of mycelium through soil, the patient waiting of spores for the right conditions, the complex chemical conversations happening in microscopic spaces. They remind us that the world is fuller, stranger, and more wonderful than we often realize. The quiet beauty of the fungal kingdom. There is something deeply peaceful about observing mushrooms. To walk slowly through a forest looking for mushrooms is to enter a contemplative state. Eyes scan the forest floor, looking for slight variations in color or texture that might reveal a hidden mushroom. The pace slows, attention focuses, thoughts quiet. When a mushroom is found, there's a moment of delight, of connection. Kneeling to examine it more closely, noticing the details of its form, the pattern of its gills, the texture of its cap, becomes a form of meditation. Time seems to expand. The forest feels more present, more alive. This peaceful attention is part of mushrooms' gift to those who seek them. They reward patience and close observation. They draw us out of our heads and into the immediate sensory world. In a busy, distracted age, mushrooms offer an antidote, a reason to slow down and really see. Mushrooms appear in quiet corners of the world. Mushrooms often grow in places that invite quiet reflection. deep in shaded forests where light filters softly through canopy, along moss-covered logs in damp ravines, in meadows at dawn when mist still lingers. These are not loud, obvious places, but subtle, peaceful corners of the landscape. The environments mushrooms prefer often overlap with places humans find restorative. Old forests with their complex structure and filtered light. Quiet glens where water trickles over stones. These spaces offer respite from the rush of modern life. Finding mushrooms in such places feels appropriate, like encountering kindred spirits in the landscape. Perhaps this is why mushroom hunting attracts those seeking peace as much as those seeking mushrooms. The activity provides excuse to spend time in contemplative landscapes, to move slowly, to notice details. The mushrooms themselves become guides to stillness. They remind us of cycles larger than ourselves. Mushrooms' seasonal appearance marks time in a way that connects us to natural rhythms. Watching for the first morels of spring, the summer flush of boletes, the autumn abundance of various species creates a calendar tied to Earth's cycles rather than human schedules. This connection to natural time feels increasingly important in a world dominated by artificial schedules and constant stimulation. Mushrooms don't care about our deadlines or plans. They appear when conditions are right, on their own schedule. Adapting to their rhythms means accepting that some things cannot be rushed or controlled. Understanding that mushrooms are part of vast cycles of growth, death, and renewal provides perspective. Our lives are also part of these cycles, moments in ongoing processes far longer than individual existence. This understanding can be comforting, a reminder that we belong to something larger and more enduring than ourselves. Finding mushrooms creates moments of simple joy. There's pure delight in spotting a beautiful mushroom, especially a species you've been hoping to find. The flash of color, the perfect form, the satisfaction of identification, these create moments of uncomplicated happiness. No agenda needed, no purpose beyond appreciation. These moments of joy are valuable in themselves. They don't need to be about food, medicine, or practical application. Sometimes a mushroom's value lies simply in its beauty, its improbable existence. The fact that you happen to be in the right place at the right time to witness it. Cultivating this appreciation for small moments of natural beauty enriches life in ways difficult to quantify. A walk that yields one perfect specimen of a mushroom you've never seen before becomes a memorable experience. The forest path where you found it becomes special. These accumulating moments of attention and appreciation weave themselves into the fabric of a meaningful life. They teach patience and acceptance. Mushroom hunting requires accepting that you cannot control what appears. Some days the forest will be full of mushrooms, other days you'll find almost nothing. Weather, season, and chance all play roles beyond your influence. Learning to appreciate whatever you find, or even finding satisfaction in the search itself regardless of results, teaches valuable lessons. This acceptance extends beyond mushroom hunting. Life constantly presents things beyond our control. Learning to engage with uncertainty, to appreciate what comes without demanding specific outcomes, creates resilience and contentment. Mushrooms model this acceptance, fruiting or not, on their own terms, indifferent to our hopes. The patience required for mushroom hunting, the willingness to walk slowly and look carefully without guarantee of reward, is a form of meditation. It trains attention and cultivates presence. These qualities serve well beyond the forest, helping navigate all of life's uncertainties with greater equanimity. The study of mushrooms can last a lifetime. Mycology offers endless depth for those who wish to pursue it. You can spend years learning to identify the mushrooms in your local area and still encounter species you've never seen. Regional variations, seasonal changes, and rare species provide constant opportunities for new discoveries. Beyond identification, understanding ecology, taxonomy, chemistry, and cultivation offers additional layers of engagement. Some people focus on photography, documenting species beautifully. Others pursue cultivation, perfecting techniques for growing various species. Still others explore culinary applications or traditional medicine. This depth means that engaging with mushrooms can provide lifelong learning and growth. There's always more to discover, always deeper understanding to develop. This inexhaustible quality makes mycology a rewarding long-term interest, one that continues revealing new facets across decades. Mushrooms connect us to the earth beneath our feet. In a world where many of us live increasingly disconnected from soil and seasons, mushrooms offer a connection point. They emerge from earth, literally fruits of the underground world. To seek them means attending to soil, moisture, trees, and all the conditions that support fungal life. This attention naturally extends to caring about these conditions. Concern for forest health, soil quality, and ecosystem integrity follows from understanding how fungi depend on them. The mushroom hunter becomes invested in the landscape, not as backdrop, but as living community to which the hunter belongs. Kneeling in forest duff to examine a mushroom, you are literally touching the earth, hands in soil, nose close to the ground. This physical connection grounds us, reminds us that we are not separate observers but participants in earthly life. Mushrooms facilitate this reconnection. They reveal hidden beauty in overlooked places. Mushrooms often grow in places people pass without noticing. A rotting log most would ignore might host a dozen species of exquisite fungi. A weedy vacant lot might contain interesting mushrooms after rain. Learning to see mushrooms means learning to see beauty in marginal, overlooked, often dismissed places. This shift in perception is valuable. It suggests that wonder exists everywhere if we develop eyes to see it. The extraordinary is not only in celebrated landscapes but also in the small, the humble, the peripheral. Mushrooms teach us to look more carefully at what we might otherwise dismiss. This lesson extends beyond fungi. Learning to notice mushrooms often leads to noticing other previously invisible aspects of nature. The person who learns to spot tiny mushrooms often starts seeing small wildflowers, lichens, insects, all the miniature diversity that exists beneath the level of casual observation. Mushrooms open doors of perception. The mushroom's brief life reminds us to notice the present moment. Most mushrooms last only days, sometimes just hours. They emerge, mature, release spores, and decay quickly. This ephemerality means that the mushroom you see today might be gone tomorrow. The perfect specimen might be past prime in a few days. This transience encourages presence. If you want to see the mushroom at its best, you must pay attention now. Tomorrow may be too late. This urgency without stress, this reminder that beautiful things are temporary, focuses attention on the immediate moment. Understanding impermanence through mushrooms can be oddly comforting. If mushrooms can appear, flourish briefly, and vanish, contributing their spores to the future before dissolving back into earth, perhaps we can accept our own transience with more grace. The mushroom's brief life is complete in itself, neither tragedy nor failure, but simply the nature of mushroom existence. In their decay, mushrooms feed the forest floor. Even the end of a mushroom's visible life contributes to the ecosystem. As the fruiting body decays, it returns nutrients to the soil. Insects and other organisms consume the mushroom tissue. What was briefly a distinct organism becomes food and habitat for others, ultimately becoming part of the soil that will nourish future growth. This cycle is visible and rapid with mushrooms. You can watch a mushroom emerge, mature, and return to earth within a week. This compressed timeline makes the cycle of growth, death, and renewal tangible in a way that trees or animals with their longer lifespans do not. Witnessing this cycle repeatedly creates a visceral understanding of how ecosystems work. Nothing is wasted. Death feeds life. The boundary between organism and environment is temporary and permeable. Mushrooms demonstrate these principles clearly, making abstract ecological concepts concrete and observable. The endless wonder of the fungal world. Every mushroom has a story written in its structure. To closely examine a mushroom is to read a story of adaptation and survival. The shape of the cap, designed to protect developing spores. The spacing of gills or pores, optimized for spore production and release. The texture of the stem, whether tough to resist herbivores or smooth and delicate. Every feature has function. The color might advertise toxicity or serve to attract spore-dispersing insects. The habitat choice reflects specific nutritional requirements. The timing of fruiting coordinates with favorable conditions. Nothing about a mushroom is arbitrary. Each detail reflects millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Learning to read these stories deepens appreciation. The mushroom becomes not just an object, but a solution to complex problems, a being finely tuned to its ecological niche. Every species tells a different story, and the variety of stories reflects the extraordinary diversity of ways fungi have found to thrive. Mushrooms grow in unexpected places. Part of mushrooms' charm is their unpredictability. They appear in lawns, gardens, forests, fields, and sometimes in surprising urban locations. A mushroom might emerge from a crack in pavement, from a planter box, from the base of a street tree. Fungi find opportunities everywhere. This opportunism demonstrates adaptability. While some species are specialists with narrow requirements, others are generalists that can exploit many situations. The oyster mushroom, growing from a telephone pole, the shaggy mane appearing in a manicured park. These unexpected appearances remind us that nature persists, even in heavily human-modified environments. Encountering mushrooms in surprising places creates moments of delight. They seem like nature's jokes or gifts, unexpected touches of wild beauty in controlled spaces. They remind us that we never fully control our environment, that other organisms continue their lives regardless of our plans. Some mushrooms glow brightly enough to read by. While most bioluminescent mushrooms produce only faint light, some species in tropical regions glow brightly enough to be genuinely useful as illumination. Historical accounts describe people in various regions using these mushrooms to mark trails or provide light in dark forests. The intensity of the glow varies among species, with some producing enough light to read text by if many mushrooms are gathered together. The light is typically greenish, creating an eerie but beautiful effect. In complete darkness, a forest floor covered with glowing mushrooms becomes an otherworldly landscape. The mechanisms of bioluminescence involve complex biochemistry that we are still working to fully understand. The fact that multiple unrelated fungi have independently evolved bioluminescence suggests it provides significant advantages, though what those advantages are remains debated. These glowing mushrooms remind us that fungi continue to puzzle and surprise scientists. Mushrooms can be tiny as pinheads, or larger than dinner plates. Fungal fruiting bodies span an enormous size range. Some mushrooms are so small they're barely visible, tiny cups or pin-like structures millimeters tall. Others grow to impressive sizes, with giant puffballs occasionally exceeding a foot in diameter and bracket fungi spanning several feet across. This size diversity reflects different strategies. Tiny mushrooms might be numerous, compensating for small individual size with large numbers. Giant mushrooms invest heavily in single, impressive fruiting bodies that can produce astronomical numbers of spores. Each approach has advantages in different contexts. The range of sizes adds to mushrooms' appeal for observers. Spotting a tiny mushroom requires sharp eyes and rewards close attention. Encountering a massive mushroom creates awe. The variety means that looking for mushrooms operates across scales. From the minute to the monumental, they can push through compacted soil and leaf litter. The force mushrooms can exert as they grow is remarkable considering their soft tissue. A mushroom pushing upward applies consistent pressure, the expanding cells collectively generating substantial force. This allows them to lift leaves, push through compacted soil, and even crack asphalt. The mechanism involves cell expansion, driven by water uptake. As cells absorb water, they swell, and the collective expansion of millions of cells creates the force that lifts the mushroom upward. The growing mushroom essentially drills through obstacles by focused, sustained pressure rather than explosive force. This demonstrates that strength isn't only about hard materials. Soft organisms can exert impressive forces through other mechanisms. The mushroom pushing through earth or lifting a heavy object is exercising a different kind of strength, one based on patient, sustained pressure and efficient use of resources. Each species has specific temperature and moisture preferences. Fungi are sensitive to environmental conditions, with each species having preferences regarding temperature and moisture. Some species fruit only in specific temperature ranges. Others require particular moisture levels. These requirements mean that different combinations of weather produce different mushroom communities. A warm, dry summer, followed by autumn rains, might favor certain species. A cool, wet year might advantage others. Frost-tolerant species fruit into late autumn and even early winter. Understanding these preferences helps foragers predict what might appear, but also reveals how fungi have adapted to occupy different temporal niches. Climate change is shifting these patterns. Species that previously fruited at certain times are appearing earlier or later. Some species ranges are shifting. These changes provide visible evidence of how environmental shifts affect organisms, with fungi serving as sensitive indicators of changing conditions. Some mushrooms have relationships with specific tree species. Many mycorrhizal fungi are particular about their partners. Chanterelles might associate with oaks or pines but not maples. Matsutake grows specifically with certain pine species. Truffles form associations with specific hardwoods. This specificity means that knowing the trees helps predict which mushrooms might be present. These specific partnerships have evolved over millions of years, with both fungus and plant adapted to each other. The fungus provides particular nutrients the tree needs, while the tree provides specific sugars the fungus requires. Breaking these partnerships, whether through tree removal or environmental change, eliminates the fungus as well. Understanding these relationships helps in conservation. Protecting a rare mushroom means protecting its tree partners and the ecosystem conditions they require. The relationships remind us that species don't exist in isolation, but in webs of dependencies that must be preserved together. Finding mushrooms becomes a treasure hunt. For many people, part of mushroom hunting's appeal is the search itself. Walking through the forest alert for any sign of mushrooms, scanning the ground, checking logs, looking up for tree fungi, engages a hunting instinct that feels deeply satisfying. Each mushroom found is a small victory. The unpredictability enhances the experience. You never know exactly what you'll find or where. This uncertainty creates anticipation and makes each discovery feel earned. The element of chance means that even experienced hunters can be surprised, keeping the activity fresh even after years. This treasure hunt quality makes mushroom hunting especially engaging for children. The possibility that the next step might reveal something special maintains interest. The variety of forms, colors, and sizes provides constant novelty. Mushroom hunting becomes a game that's also education and outdoor exercise. Mushrooms invite us to slow down and observe. Perhaps mushrooms' greatest gift is the invitation to slow down. You cannot hunt mushrooms effectively while rushing. You must walk slowly, look carefully, notice subtle details. This enforced deceleration feels increasingly valuable in a fast-paced world. The practice of looking carefully for mushrooms trains attention. You become better at seeing patterns, noticing small variations, distinguishing foreground from background. These perceptual skills transfer beyond mushroom hunting, making you generally more observant and present. Slowing down to observe mushrooms creates space for reflection and relaxation. The forest walk becomes meditation. Thoughts settle. Stress diminishes. The quiet focus required for mushroom hunting provides the same benefits as other contemplative practices, but with the added reward of potentially finding beautiful organisms. Each mushroom is both individual and part of vast networks. Every mushroom you see is simultaneously a distinct entity and part of something larger. It's the fruiting body of a specific mycelial organism, but that organism is connected through soil to countless other organisms in complex relationships. The mushroom is both one and many. This duality reflects a deeper truth about life. We experience ourselves as individuals, but we're also nodes in vast networks of relationships and dependencies. We're distinct beings and parts of families, communities, ecosystems, and the planet's biosphere. The mushroom models this paradox of individual and collective existence. Contemplating this duality through mushrooms can be philosophically rich. It challenges simplistic notions of individuality and separation. It suggests that boundaries are less clear than they seem. The mushroom emerging from mycelium connected to tree roots linked to other fungi is not easily reduced to simple categories of self and other. A final contemplation. And so, dear listener, our journey through the hidden world of mushrooms draws to a close. From the vast underground networks spreading beneath our feet to the delicate fruiting bodies that appear for just days. From ancient partnerships with plants that shaped terrestrial life to modern applications that might help heal our damaged planet, we have wandered together through a kingdom that operates largely unseen but shapes nearly everything we see. We have glimpsed the extraordinary diversity of fungal forms, from luminous mushrooms glowing in darkness to tiny cups barely visible, from massive bracket fungi that persist for years to ephemeral mushrooms that vanish in hours. Each form represents solutions to the challenges of survival, reproduction, and ecological partnership. We have considered the roles fungi play, breaking down what dies and returning nutrients to support new growth. We have explored their partnerships with plants, the mycorrhizal networks that connect forests into living communities. We have touched on the dangers some fungi pose and the benefits others provide, from medicines that save lives to foods that delight palates across cultures. The mushroom world is a reminder that much of what matters happens beyond our direct perception. The mycelial threads weaving through every handful of soil, the patient growth spanning years or centuries, the chemical conversations between fungi and their partners, the constant transformation of death into life. All of this proceeds quietly, without fanfare, essential but often unnoticed. As you lie here, letting your breath deepen into a slow, easy rhythm, imagine yourself walking through a forest floor in autumn. Picture the soft light filtering through thinning leaves. Feel the cool air, the slight dampness that promises mushrooms. Smell the rich scent of earth and decay that is actually the smell of transformation. See the mushrooms scattered across the forest floor. Golden chanterelles glowing in mossy patches, clusters of honey mushrooms at the base of trees, delicate mycena species on fallen twigs, bracket fungi in their patient layers on standing snags. Each one a small miracle, a visible expression of vast, invisible life. Imagine kneeling to examine one particularly beautiful specimen. Notice the perfect geometry of its gills, the subtle color gradations across its cap, the way it emerges from the earth, as if offered up by the forest itself. Feel the peace of this moment, the quiet satisfaction of witnessing something beautiful and alive. The mushroom will be gone in days, returned to the soil from which it emerged. But in its brief existence, it will have released millions of spores, contributed to the forest's cycles, provided food for insects and small animals, and offered this moment of beauty to you. Its ephemeral life is complete, purposeful, and part of patterns far larger than itself. Your own life is like this too, a temporary emergence from larger patterns, a brief visibility followed by return to the whole, not separate from nature but always part of it. The same elements that compose the mushroom compose you. The same energy that animates fungal growth animates your own life. You are not an observer of nature, but a participant in it, one form among countless forms. Let this understanding bring peace. Let it remind you that you belong here, that you are part of the ancient cycles of growth and renewal. Let the image of the forest floor, quiet and alive with hidden networks, carry you into rest. If you happen to still be awake, you can simply let these thoughts dissolve like morning mist. But if your eyes are heavy, if sleep is pulling at you like gravity, let yourself sink into it. Let the quiet forest hold you. Let the image of mushrooms, patient and peaceful, be the last thought that dissolves into dreams. The mycelial networks will continue their work beneath the earth, growing thread by thread in darkness. The mushrooms will fruit when conditions are right, appearing and disappearing in their endless cycles. The forest will continue its slow conversation with the fungi that sustain it, and you can simply rest, held by the same earth that holds all of this, part of the same living system, breathing the same air, made of the same elements. Close your eyes, if they're not already closed. Feel your body heavy and comfortable, supported fully. Notice your breath, slow and natural, no effort needed. Let each exhale release a little more tension, a little more thought, a little more holding on. The mushrooms in the forest know nothing of worry or hurry. They grow at their own pace, fruit when ready, return to earth without resistance. They exist fully in each moment, neither rushing forward nor clinging to the past. Let yourself be like this now. Simply here, simply breathing, simply resting. Let the fungal kingdom with all its mysteries and wonders fade gently into the background. Let the forest scene become softer, dimmer, like a painting slowly fading. Let your awareness turn inward, toward the warm darkness of approaching sleep. Good night, dear listener. May you rest deeply and peacefully. May you dream of forests, if you dream at all, of quiet growth in darkness, of patient transformation, of life continuing its endless weaving below and above, seen and unseen, in the vast, peaceful kingdom where mushrooms grow.